Hey, welcome again to another episode of Cardboard Conversations here on Cardboard Odysseys. Th- Thank you for joining us. As always, this is going to be an incredible journey, so make sure you like and subscribe so you can get notified when our next adventure begins as well. Bob, we were chatting behind the scenes. We already have an exciting exchange of words, so glad we can continue that here live.
Oh, I don't. Should we continue that conversation?
No,
I mean,
I,
I don't.
we're
I
talking
don't
about
want to.
doing some pack openings and box openings and stuff. And that's something we'd like doing for people. If you're interested in whole box openings, that's kind of our preference. Way too much work opening up 24, 36 packs at a time. Unfortunately, I don't have the attention some of the better creators do. So I think I would prefer doing whole boxes. What's your opinion on that, Bob?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, I want if so. Here's my take on us doing box openings. As most of you know, if you've been tuning in for some time and know my personality, I don't really like doing the pack openings. I like opening packs, just like every one of you does. And I open some behind the scenes, whether it's Lorcana or Magic, most of the time off screen. Like I don't do that on screen with you guys often unless it was like a gift, like from BBD, which I very much appreciate. Let's take a quick second to say hello to everybody in the audience. We got the Hillbillies here, and I assume it's both of y'all, Mrs. Hillbilly. Yeah. I'm assuming Mr. Hillbilly's at least within earshot, or maybe both of you are all in the same account. Mr. Richie Dubs are one of our awesome actual members.
Yeah.
We got Solar God here, and hopefully we'll have some more joining in soon. Just wanted to say hello and thank you to everybody in the audience tonight.
Oh yeah, Solar God was saying, pre-show they were cracking up some packs, just get to the excitement of it before show went live.
So as far as like opening on screen, I'm not averse to it, as long as everybody. Whoa! Look at that! Look, the first gifted. Membership. Wow, means. Thank you, Richie. Thank you very much.
What that means is Richie is awesome, I guess. That's what that means.
He actually gave me a little bit of material today, so thank you for that on top of it. That I'll be talking to you. Didn't even mention it before the stream. We were talking about pack openings. We'll get back to what the Richie content was, and it has to do with a brand new game that just came out. At any rate, I want it to be a feel good all the way around, right? Because if you open at cost and then you're running around doing all that, we're losing money. If we charge a little extra, it might feel bad that you're not really getting the greatest deals because we don't have access to discounted product anywhere through any distributors or stores or whatnot because they want to have it opened on our channel. That's not how it works. So I don't mind doing openings, and I would love to share in the excitement with all of you. But if we're going to get into that, it's going to have to be, I don't want to say mutually beneficial, but at least not mutually punishing. It has to have no feel bads associated with it. Like if it's a shitty box, well, that just is what it is. Who hasn't opened really bad packs before? And that, that is what it is. Yeah. But the actual structure, we've debated about and running. Is our time worth something? Well, we give you our time here for free. So if you're just tuning in, most nights we're okay with you taking our time for free because we're taking yours as well. So I think that's an even trade there. It's just me. The guy in the picture is my grandpa.
Oh, that's Mrs. Hillbilly.
I got you. I was just assuming. I didn't know that it was just you tuning in. So thank you very much. If Mr. There's Mr. Hillbilly. So I was just way off base here. That just messed me all up. But thank you both for being
here.
So
Solar God's hunting some eBay sales, huh? Good stuff.
Let us know what you got there. Let us know what you cracked. Let us know what you got for sales. So that's what we were talking about behind the scenes. And of course, I get a little animated about opening it because I believe it or not, at the end of the day, I'm all about fair play, right? Like I believe that things should be equitable. I mean, we say fair, but equitable is probably a more appropriate term because fairness is all subjective. But equitable is what it would have to be. Ooh, got some Lorcana cards. I definitely want to hear about that. So Lorcana, why don't we go ahead and start there, Pat? Have you been paying any attention to the Lorcanas?
I haven't heard any news since our last chat about Into the Inkwell, I believe it's called, the third set
Into
coming
the
up.
Inklands.
Into the Inklands. Is that,
believe it or not, that's up on TCG Player already.
Oh,
You can
well,
pre-order boxes and well, you can pre-order everything. They're kind of banana packs to me. Bright yellow set if you haven't seen it. Definitely going to be getting some for myself. But what about you? You think you're going to be buying into it?
I definitely want to, for sure. So last week it was, oh hey, we got Matt here with us as well. Hey Matt.
Hey Matt.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. I thought you were off bowling tonight.
No, that was last week. No, I was just in the shower and I was having difficulties with getting my audio on my. I listen to music while I'm in the shower, and for whatever reason, I've never had this happen. But my Spotify was bouncing between my watch and the speaker constantly. So eventually, I just disconnected the watch from my phone. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I gotta go. So sorry.
So maybe we could pull up some TCG Player would probably be appropriate for those that haven't been watching. Can you do me a favor and just sort by all Lorcana by sealed? On the left, you can do sealed. And it's kind of interesting. I was looking at this a little bit earlier. So I don't know if we've gotten the full
first chapter,
third wave that they were talking about. Yeah, you see that?
Holy moly! But look at the price on the
right. And this is where I was going. Like the price is still clearly not settled down. And if you look at the sales volumes on the first chapter,
great price, good stuff.
24 packs of Ikoria Collector. Oh, $17 a piece each. You know, I love Ikoria. I think in the future it's. So here's the thing. Even if they overprint the shit out of things, right? With Magic. At some point in the future, those that did not have money during this era, for whatever reason, over the last 4 years, and missed out on some really exciting stuff from Magic, like Ikoria. So here's me shilling for WotC, right? There's going to be a nostalgic factor attached to any sealed product, which is why I say keep it sealed. I guarantee you within 5 or 10 years, even Pat's going to look back and go, you know what? I had a great time opening Ikoria. And there's going to be an incalculable value attached to that, where if Pat ends up making double what he's making now in 10 years, you know, he might have the extra spare cash to go, $200 for a box. Sure. Let me just buy one because I just feel like cracking it with some friends. So that's the value in sealed. And I hope that kind of sticks with all of you. So good on you for the $17 a pack. Bob loves WotC. That is not an accurate statement, but they do make games that I love.
I don't know.
So,
I feel like
it's
super risky buying individual. Are they like individual packs? I don't know. I wouldn't buy individual packs.
Well,
right.
I mean,
although Ikoria is kind of one of those things. There's no serialized in Ikoria that I can remember, so maybe it's fine. I don't know. I mean, there's no way.
It's not always like you've pointed out. It's not always going to be. Clearly, it's not going to be about financial value at this point. So I would just kind of take that right out the window.
Cool. Yeah.
You know, but what happens if you open it like a foil borderless, like Luris, which could be in any pack? They can't really hunt those down.
DJ,
I have a foil Luris, and then when it got banned, it dropped from $115 to $7. So
okay, but you might still get excited about having it to put it in your own deck in Commander because it's not banned there, and it's a great card to have there.
Oh, it's banned in Commander as the companion.
Nah. I'm ordering a Luris deck tomorrow. Through
it's a good deck.
Cards. I'm doing a Luris Rats deck. So Luris is going to be the commander, and it's just 29 pack rats. Just fun times,
Like, I hate the ban list for Commander because who gives a shit? There's no sanctioned tournaments. You decide what's okay to play at your table,
right? Yeah.
So I could care less about the banned list on Commander. Fame boost. Wow, so much chatter in the audience tonight. Thank you. Hey, and I'm going to do something rare, and I'm going to shill for us because we suck at doing this. Hey, if you're here and watching and you haven't already done so, please hit that like button. It helps share the algorithm, or share our channel with the algorithm. I'm so good at this.
And
like, comment, subscribe, interact with the video in any way. You can thumbs down if you hate us, but it still helps. So You probably won't do
But
it
did you-
now that I say it
Did you
out,
look at
but-
the sales volume? That's kind of what I wanted. What's still surprising to me, like if you can go and look at the sales volumes of the first chapter, like, dude, at
Wow.
$200, somebody bought 12 boxes. Just view more. I mean, we're just talking about today alone. So somebody that says,
Wild.
like, I hate to say it with like Rudy and these people to say this game's not here to
$95.
stay. This is a bad. It's crashing. It's like when this fully goes out of print, being
it's
the alpha
12
box,
booster pack bundles.
it's
Why is that showing up?
I don't know. That looks like garbage, but you understand what I'm saying? It's not like onesie twosies. I mean, there are well over 100 boxes sold a day. Like this is it's just the appetite out there for this product
Large
is
majority of
just crazy, folks. So, Solar God, member for 5 months. Thank you, sir.
Wow.
GG. There's a win right there. But what I'm saying about Lorcana, and the interesting point is, even with the crash of the prices from the $400, I think this is perfect. This is a state where, how unhappy I was with all the flippers and whatnot, and especially so for those of you behind the scene, I was bugging Pat and Matt behind the scene for many months, just showing pictures of people who had stacks of it in their living room. When it was like $400 a box. I'm like, this is bad. This is just a bad look, bad place, bad people. I think those people are gone, right? I think that they have done the right thing. They told us that they were going to get it down to MSRP. I don't know why these people are selling off at this price. I think that's a mistake. Yeah, scalper flippers. I think that's bad. It was bad. The ones that were gatekeeping and making it ramp up to $400, and it wasn't helping the game grow. I think the game is in a very, very healthy place at the moment. So it's one to keep an eye on. I mean, really? Another one, Richie?
This guy's going nuts tonight. Richie.
Did you hit the lotto, my friend? Easy. I feel almost bad.
I think Richie's
tax return already. What's happening here?
Oh,
Richie's been a staunch supporter of our channel since the beginning. So thank you very much.
He's been a member. I think he's our longest running member.
Actually, I think that one belongs to Stefan. I think Richie was just behind him, but I think our first member was Stefan. That would be Cosmic Seeds. Oh wow. Okay. Well, thank you very much. We do appreciate the support. It does make us feel good that we're doing the right things here. So I'm not saying that Lorcana is something to buy into as an investment. I think that it's a risky era for any card game, even if you're looking at Reserve List. I've had many chats with Richie behind the scenes about Reserve List. We're on the same page. That it is, to me, an inevitability. They keep reprinting these $20 cards till they're down to $3, right? They're going to run out of those for Magic, right? That's just a thing that's going to happen.
We got
wow! You guys are just being generous.
Wow!
Thank you very much, all of you. But what scares me about the Reserve List, and I have a not insignificant amount of Reserve List expensive cards, but I think it's on their radar. I think that they are definitely targeting it. They're well aware that the high value cards that they have left are on the Reserve List. I don't know how long it'll hold up, because everything I've done some research. Pat and I have talked about this, and he had even talked about maybe we do a show on lawsuits against WotC for the Reserve List.
Right. What would happen if they actually did it? Yeah.
In summary, it's a joke. That's not a real thing. That's people puffing their chests up and making themselves feel good, but that's not real. There's nobody that would win. And the only reason they don't have lawsuits is because they just don't want the bad press, but feels like they're pissing all over the public anyways at this point, and don't really care about how the public feels about WotC. So yeah,
I think they're certainly trying to deliver product in a different way. They're trying to make product differently, the variances along with the universes beyond. And then on top of that, how they're selling it is changed so very much. I mean, direct to consumer sales, and then also, through the ease of Amazon purchases, it just is so different than it ever used to be. And I think that, to round back to your point earlier, I think that anybody in their right mind buying Magic the Gathering or any trading card game at this point to hold on to for extreme, value gains. I just don't see it there. Unfortunately, I think the time of the free tendies has definitely gone by. I think it's gone by, and people are just really starting to try and acclimate to the new movements in the market and how they're going for it. How I'm buying Magic, is very different than how it was when Ikoria came out. I remember buying a case of Commander Legends as a Rudy patron at one point. And now it's, go to moxfield.com, design a deck, print that deck off of, makeplayingcards.com and get it shipped out that way. It's definitely a huge change. And
I actually bought Magic product this week.
You got to tell us more.
So for those of you that weren't, got to give Asmodee credit, no lies. I assume you're talking about like the new Star Wars game, potentially, when you're talking to Asmodee. But last week, if y'all weren't here, which I think all of you were, we had a very special guest, Mr. Llama SC. And if you're watching this, Mr. Llama, thank you very much for being here. That was an absolute pleasure. But I don't know if he's watching. So he's not speaking up. I'm going to assume he's not watching right now, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. But I bought him a Commander deck and sent it via Amazon. So full transparency, just the ease of like me not having to deal with going to the post office and shipping and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it was free shipping, so why not? Yeah. And it was actually on a discount. So I wanted to send him the Elven Empires from Kaldheim, but I looked at it, just doesn't make any sense. They're on Goldfish, like the entire deck, if you sold it every card and you could actually sell every card, including basic lands, was $44. But if you try to buy it on Amazon, it's like $120. It's right around that price at TCG Player. And I'm like, that doesn't compute. Like I could buy every single card and not have the packaging and send it to him for $80 less. That's just silly. So I did get 2 free pulls last night. And I gave it right back to everybody. So I mean, I do frequent most people's channels out there. I do try to be supportive of the environment out there as much as I can with time considering. But I sent him, so hopefully it doesn't get porch pirated because he's on vacation. But he gave me an address. So I sent him a Commander deck, and hopefully we can have him play some Commander raids with us. And what I got him was the Lord of the Rings instead, because you know how he likes elves. I sent him the Lord of the Rings Elven. Yeah, I don't know the rest of the name. It's an Elven Council or something deck.
Oh,
so and it was around $50. So I was like, it was a thank you for showing up and visiting such a small channel. Well, I appreciate that, Twiddler. Thank you very much. But yeah, I mean, so I did buy Magic. So let's be transparent. I buy Magic in very specific cases and for specific reasons. It doesn't mean I'm not going to buy any. I have no money budgeted for Magic this year.
Yeah.
So that means everything's going to be impulse to fill niches or something I need. So it's not that I'm completely not buying Magic, but it's just no longer in my budget. Right. That's honestly, I've shifted all of it to Lorcana, and I've really even scaled back even on that on space consideration. Like I can't, like my basement's filling up. I don't have enough room for stuff, but I want to buy the Diablo board game.
Yeah, I'm contemplating on buying some of the draft boxes that I don't have.
Whoa!
What is happening?
Look at the audience going off tonight. Well, I don't know what we did to deserve it, but thank you, everybody. Wow, come on, really?
Sorry, Matt. The generosity of our patrons here is just
like you missed it even before. There was like gifting before you even got here. It's like they're just going nuts. Like, super stickers.
Well, I was going to call it out, but I assumed that I just missed it because I wasn't here. But I saw that we had 2 mythic level memberships, which is the $5 tier, which is pretty cool.
Wow. So I mean, tonight
Time
we got
Capsule and.
Sorry, guys. It's exciting for us because we haven't really been monetized, but thank you all very much for your
We
generosity.
are very close. Honestly, what helps us the most, what would be really awesome, and I love them. Thank you for the memberships and whatnot and the cheers. But what really helps us is sharing the videos and then watching them in more than 30 seconds of them. Right now, as if you're not familiar with how the monetization works for YouTube, we are partnered, but we're like a partial partner. Basically, we need watch time hours, and we are at 3919 of 4,000 of the last year. So we need 4,000 hours of in the last year's worth of YouTube that we've been on in order to fully monetize that. That includes ads, of course. You
I
can
don't know if
continue
it
to use
counts
ad blocker.
live.
I do. I
'Cause we
don't
got
know. It
lots
just
of
it
live
just says
It
hours.
does
public
count
watch
live.
hours.
It does.
It has to count. It should. Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely should count live.
It does.
So keep
That's
tuning
probably
in
why we're
on
ramping up so
Saturdays
much.
as well. All this helps. But let's get back to the conversation about cardboard and I don't want to just focus on monetization because I don't want everybody to feel like
Core
they need to
MTG
chip
and
in.
MTG Hillbilly are both
But-
Mythic members, by the way.
Getting back to the sales of things, Lorcana, keep an eyeball. Sales volume does matter, guys, and gals. That it shows a health meter, if you will, on a game. And people trying to compare Lorcana to Magic, let's put this in perspective. Magic's been around for 30 years. Like Lorcana's been around 6 months.
Mm.
And it's treading water with it comparatively. So
It's interesting you say that because in 2024 we're seeing Steamboat Willie, one of the most original Disney IPs, come into the public domain, and that just kind of goes to show how long-term familiarity Lorcana has. And I think that that's kind of misleading, especially in the competition that we're seeing with their third set coming out versus Magic the Gathering's 70th set. It's
I don't even
kind
know.
of crazy how there is such a stark competition between a very new entry into the market with some of these big hitters, like you're saying. This
Is it though?
I think
Is it
is
crazy?
surprising,
I don't think
I honestly think it is. Like
What?
I think that it's
You were the one who
unfair.
was saying that because of the power of Disney, it was going to be smashingly successful. You
So
were
good.
right. So why?
Hey,
so
But
why
I agree
don't
that it is
second-guess
smashingly
yourself.
successful. But to
I think
compare it
the-
to like the Juggernaut is not fair to begin. It'd be like comparing us to Rudy's channel, right? Like we're doing well. I think we're being, we've achieved some level of success here. But to compare us to like the Rudy, that's not really fair. And it's like that. You have it's not really David versus Goliath. I honestly think they're going to be in their own channels long term. But the first thing, folks out there, to remember and always keep in mind with Lorcana is it's got to survive a number of years first. We don't know what kind of renewal contracts they're going to have with Disney. We don't know if they're going to muck it up some point with like overprinting and making it just like unappealing for anybody to try to collect. I mean, maybe overprinting will help it become a game, but it can kill any kind of collectible value of it. And I haven't seen them make any serious missteps with the collectability of the game other than not sealing the boxes and to some extent flooding it. But I think the flooding is good, right? We don't know what their print run numbers are. I wish they would do like Grand Archive and show very transparently all their print run numbers.
Yeah. I think for me, it's not so much that it's a black swan event. I think that it was very predictable that there would be a huge chance for success. I'm just so surprised that there really was that big payoff. That as we were viewing TCG player sales on sealed boxes, and to still see that pumping so much, not just on the Rise of the Floodborn, which is way below MSRP, whereas the sales on some of the pricier boxes of the first chapter up near $200 still is really surprising, even after these huge reprint waves.
That doesn't surprise me. And the reason I say this is because if you look at the sales volume, like somebody who was like super smart out there, so one of you MIT graduates out there can grab the numbers off TCG Player, look at the reprint dates, look at the price drops, look at the price rising again, and can probably calculate out to some degree of confidence within a range how many boxes were printed. And what it just shows is that this product, and understand, TCG Player is just one platform, folks. Like you can buy Lorcana all over the place online. You can buy it at your local game store that's not being tracked. Understand that there's a lot more boxes being sold than just what you're seeing on TCG Player. That's just one outlet.
Well, and also
and it's not even a direct ship from
packs too. You know, that's realistically the only way I've bought Lorcana at this point is at Walmart. So the
me too.
box or so that I've
opened
has just been at Wally World sales, and that stuff's definitely not tracked. And I think that my local Walmart had more sealed product as far as any product at all, really, versus my local gaming stores. One of my LGSs was flooded out. The other one didn't get any product. So the only store within an hour's drive was Walmart that had Lorcana whatsoever. And I think that type of sales structure is right out the gate huge. And one of the reasons why, Fate, Grand Archive, phenomenal from everything I've seen. It just doesn't have that reach yet. Same thing for Flesh and Blood. They've been doing really well with their competitive scene. But until they get more cards into people's hands, it's just not going to, really work out. Hey, what up, Gore?
I actually really like Grand Archive. It's a really fun game. I wish I could play it more.
I mean, the thing that appeals to me the most about Grand Archive, like I said, is their transparency. And I don't know how much is it going to resonate with anybody in the audience, maybe besides Dual Brain, but establishing trust to me is a really critical component of a collectible card game, because it's just like fiat money. You have to have faith in the collectible, and the things that WotC's done has honestly, like you're even hearing Rudy. I don't know if you've listened to his videos lately. He's been stomping his feet about people not really understanding that the C in CCG is collectible, right? And that's what he's been saying. The what do they call them? The game piece armies, and what he's basically talking about to anybody that wants the cards to be cheap and easily accessible versus those that want to collect them and have a value in their collection. But it has always been marketed as a collectible card game, right? And as part of that, there's supposed to be some sort of value just understood. And they had 27 years of following practices that made that at least appealing to some, right? Maybe not everybody. But what's funny is Rudy was absolutely correct. Did you watch his, if anybody out there watched his Secret Lair video where he's talking about, you have this dichotomy that people, the same people that are complaining that they want all the game pieces to be cheap and readily available, but then when they list a Secret Lair that doesn't have the financial value in it, they complain that there's not the financial value in there, and it's right at basically the price of the cards. So it's nice to see a company like Grand Archive, and hopefully they stick with it. And I would love to see Ravensburger follow that model. And to some extent, you have some of that from Flesh and Blood, which I would like to see them continue. But the last thing I think we got print runs for was Monarch. Is that correct? Whoa!
Wow! Super
the
chat.
Whole audience is cool. It must be payday or something out there. Holy Moses.
I took that suggestion and I did that like tags thing, and maybe that just drove people wild subconsciously.
We just saw the tags and they're just like, yes. I honestly expected a day like this on like a Christmas episode. It feels like very like Christmassy. It's like a Christmas in January instead of July.
That's an interesting statement.
Thank you very much.
A comment DJ had earlier, I think he said it jokingly, but the idea of Disney theme packs, I think that there might be something to that later on down the line. Now there are 6 colors for Lorcana, so it is increasingly difficult to get the color you need to make the decks you want to play. So it might actually be worthwhile to have those theme packs, so you can kind of guarantee what colors you're getting. So maybe there are some ancillary products that are worthwhile looking into, or specifically movie-related products. If you only want stuff from Moana,
Aladdin.
Yeah, an example like that. They sell a special edition of the DVD, and you can only get these special packs in it, and it's only Aladdin stuff in it. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
I
really,
want to.
cool sales ideas they could do.
I want to talk about that because, like, originally in Magic, the only way you could get the Mana Crypt was by buying a book or something with a redemption. Maybe it was a magazine. I can't remember. But it wasn't a standard issue Magic card, just like the Nalathini Dragon. So for all of you out there, you should look up those couple of cards. I've never had a problem with that, right? I don't care if you get cards in a venue that's not necessarily buying them in packs, that you can have playable cards that come from other venues. Where I think it would make the most sense, though, is if you got that special version of a card that is available, right? Like, that's the right way to do it, that you get this serialized Steamboat Willie if you go to the park on this day, but it's the same Steamboat Willie that you can play that you get in packs. Like, that's the way I think you can handle it. And much to like if it Solar God's comment there, I don't know if you want to pop that up on screen where he says serialized cards are dumb, at least the way that WotC's doing it. I don't think that they're dumb. I don't think anything that has this special value to a single card as a collectible is necessarily a bad thing. I think overdoing it the way that WotC tends to do it with everything. They're like, oh, this was a good idea with the Viscera Seer. Well, let's just make 600 more serialized cards over the next 12 months. It's like, that's not the way to do it, right? If you keep making something that was special, you keep decreasing the specialness of that something, right? That's a problem that WotC has, and I don't understand how their management has not picked up on that. That when you overdo the borderless lands, when you overdo the gilded foils or the oil slick or the serialized, or even just cumulatively all of these different special things, that suddenly now the normal card becomes the special one, because it's like there's too many other special variants that if you add up all the variants, there's actually more of those than just a regular basic card.
Yeah.
So that and that's just to highlight, I agree the way that WotC's handling it is wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with serialized or what were they in the masterpieces. That's the way that you do it, like the masterpieces, where they really are rare and you don't have 18 billion other rare things as well.
Well, and I think that to mirror that,
don't have a competition on who can donate.
Yeah,
more
please,
money.
guys. Yeah, I mean,
unless okay, here's my stipulation. Unless you have fuck you money and you just want to give it away, I'm cool with that. But like, don't do things you can't afford.
Don't cause yourself pain for this. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
we appreciate
right. Don't want to on our cause.
It's wonderful.
And that's the thing.
But I mean, the point, like what Solar God is making, the point that Solar God made is very valid, and it's not just serialized cards that they're managing badly. And this has been my complaint, since the fireside chat, that they're mismanaging the IP. Right? Everybody generally loved masterpieces, right? I don't recall anybody bashing it. And the only part that I remember them bashing was saying, well, we're going to have masterpieces in every set from here on, right? That was like the only complaint that people had. But then they just like flooded with every thought that ever popped into anybody's head. It's like, I can just see a boardroom full of like Post-it notes of every crazy idea that you could possibly have. And they just took them all and shoved them into the sets. It's like, what's really special?
Can you still turn in sets of your Magic the Gathering online account for physical cards? I'm not sure if they still host that program, actually. So what?
That's Daybreak Games now. So I don't know what their affiliation really is with Daybreak Games. Daybreak Games manages MTGO, but I don't know if you open packs there that you can still turn them in for physical cards.
Right.
I think that was true, Richie. Prior to turning it over to Daybreak, I don't know what the deal is now that it's not even a Hasbro company anymore.
Being standard still. Interesting.
But I don't play MitGo. I haven't for many years. I sold my collection off there a long time ago, at an extreme loss. But yeah, probably like a 4-1 loss, somewhere in that
Well,
ballpark.
on the flip side of that, going from extreme losses to extreme wins, Matt, do you want to, kind of showboat for a little bit? You want to talk?
You know what's funny? As we're sitting here chatting,
Oh
I'm
my
logged
God.
into-
You freaking
Thank you, Twiddler. Thank you very much.
ridiculous. You guys, thank you. And I don't mean to be.
Now we're gonna have to do something. I feel like pressure.
Very gracious.
I
thank
feel
you all
pressure
so
now to
much.
good
do something
content
in
for the
return for the
fans,
audience. So we'll see.
But
But I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
So Pat's talking about. I released a short earlier today. If you guys have seen it, you guys already know what this is. But let me pull up. Luckily, I play with I think it's called Shadow Play, GeForce Experience. Basically, it records the last 5 minutes of gameplay constantly, and whenever something cool happens, I can just hit a hotkey and it'll like record that. So it like caches your gameplay while you're playing. So just if you're not live streaming, you can still get cool. If something cool happens, you can still have a recording of it. So that's been a lifesaver. Speaking of which, I might just do that now because while I was logged in game, while we're chatting, I'm logged in for trades and stuff. I have gotten a third mirror basically. So
What?
yeah, so
No,
I just sitting here in my hideout. I'm not playing the game, but I want to present. I'll share my screen.
So how about we kind of qualify that? We're talking about
I'll give
Path
some
of Exile,
context.
folks.
Yeah, I didn't want.
just
See,
the-
here's the thing. I was gonna like do this live on Identify, kind of like your Sacred Armor, but we were like having good conversation about like Lorcana and Magic, and I'm like, I feel like this off topic. I won't do it. I'll just Identify. It's gonna be trash anyways. And then of course,
It's nutty.
it
not
wasn't.
trash.
It wasn't.
So I mean, it's very rare, folks. It's like pulling the hot card out of a Magic pack. So this is a game called Path of Exile for those that aren't familiar with it.
To give some context, it's sharing the whole screen, right? Yeah. Okay. So to give
Really
some
tiny.
context, yeah, it's a widescreen. Let me zoom in like a lot. Okay, so this is called the Precursor's Emblem Ring. So what it is you find these 3 rings in 3 various different places, and you vendor them together, all 3 of them, and then you get what's called a Precursor's Emblem. And this has 3 power charge modifiers. The 3 power charge modifiers can be any of these long list of things. These are the long list of things that it can be. The only thing actually worth money that I know of is +1 maximum power charge, and it is a very rare outcome. I don't know how rare. I don't think it's as rare as Amir, but apparently it might be. I actually don't know. But I identified my Precursor's Emblem, and you'll notice that it has +1 power charge. And if I Control D it, yeah, you guys can see it. If I click on just the +1 power charge, it says that people are paying a mirror for +1 power charge. If you guys aren't familiar with what a mirror is, I can show you because I have 2 of them. So a mirror in Path of Exile, basically, it's the rarest item in the game. To my knowledge, I don't think anything else is more rare than it. It has a 0.0000. I think, what is it, 4 or 5 zeros? I posted the odds earlier in our chat.
I think it was 4 zeros and then a 1. So that's what? 1 in 10,000 chance? No, that's 1 in 100,000.
Yeah, 0.0001% chance of dropping a mirror. I've been playing this game for, we'll say, 10,000 plus hours because I've been playing for over 10 years. I play a lot. And I have never found a Mirror of Kalandra up until this league. And the first mirror that I found, I kind of felt it was a little bit of a cheaty mirror. The reason I say that is because the league mechanic, this league, is very, very rewarding. And magic finding is extremely rewarding this league. So finding a mirror, there's a guy that's doing magic finding and he's streaming every day. And he's streaming like 12 to 14 hours since league launch. He's found like 30 mirrors this league, which is just...
It's like in-game economy going to crash because of this huge adjustment to drop rates?
Oh, the inflation is horrible. Yes, the inflation is rough, but it's still, because everybody's finding a ton of currency. As long as you know what you're doing in the game at all, it's kind of like as long as you know what you're doing at all, you're still good. Like you still can afford, plenty of things. Like I don't have a problem affording anything, and I haven't even spent the 2 mirrors. Like that's just from like I built all my characters without my mirror so far. So, anyways, the reason why I say this the second mirror is important is because I don't think this is the right clip. No, this isn't the right clip. This is I was doing Uber Maven, which I do want to like showcase the bosses. Yeah, I think this is it. So this is what's called the Feared. Basically what you do is there's something called the Maven. She's like this entity god thing that she's come to our dimension and she's like watching us kill bosses. And that's called Maven witnessing. She's a very powerful being and she captures them kind of like Pokeballs now that I think about it. She captures them like Pokemon and then she throws them in an arena for you to fight at once. So the Feared is I think it's the most dangerous encounter in the game. Minus the Feared with Ghosted and a bunch of other crap. But the Feared is the top 5 strongest bosses in the game. The Cortex, Chayula, the Alluring Abyss, which is Adziri, and then Shaper's Realm and the Absence of Meaning of Value and Meaning, which are both the Uber Shaper and then Uber Elder and Uber Shaper. But it's basically called Uber Shaper or Uber Elder.
Uber.
Anyways, so you fight all 5 of these bosses at once. And I was just doing it because I'm just like a change of pace. Instead of magic finding, I'm doing boss killing. So is it? Why won't it play? Play. Okay. So I'll showcase the character. This only takes a minute. So this is fighting the 5 bosses at once. The character I have is very, very strong, so I demolish bosses now. If you guys watched the live stream, you would have seen the creating of this character.
Oh,
very
cool.
good character. It basically
stream.
slams the grounds and creates these like fissures that like fissure through the map and blow up. But yeah, I demolished these bosses. But the loot. I actually got
killing it.
A mirror.
Hey, what up, Prime?
A mirror of Kalandra from the boss. So normally, if you have a 0.0001% chance of getting it from a normal monster, like getting it from a boss drop is kind of wild.
Is it increased drop rates? I mean, you'd kind of figure that for, one of the better items in the game that would probably have a higher chance from a boss.
I don't know. I think it's possible that
tier of drops.
Yeah, I think it's possible that Adziri might be the one that dropped it. So Adziri is she actually holds a mirror in her hand in the fight that you play. Because she has, I don't exactly know. She's the queen of the Vol. She basically has reflect on her, like damage reflect. I don't know that I can find. So it's a different kind. So yeah, here we go. So images of Adziri. So I have to be there. There's kind of boobas, but they're covered. The nipples are covered. But yes, you can see her holding a mirror in her hand.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility that she was the one that dropped the mirror. I don't know because I killed 5 bosses, so I don't know who did it, or I don't know that there's even an increased drop rate. They don't release this information. This is just all speculation.
So part of the reason, as I understand it, that the mirror is so sought after in this game is because many of the items in the game that are the best are a fairly random chance on the stats that are on them, or very, very difficult to kind of craft, if you will. And what the mirror allows you to do is copy any item in the game, right? So if you got lucky at crafting this super uber, I don't know, bow, and you want to be able to trade it, in order to copy it again, it would take you an insane amount of materials, or you just use the mirror and copy that crazy item in the game. Sort of like a legal way to duplicate items, which has some real value. So that's why those mirrors are like stupidly sought after, and they're incredibly rare. Like Matt said, is a really, really small drop chance. But they have super juiced loot in this latest season. That's kind of what they did for this season. Is they've like 500 times the amount of loot that drops. So I think some of it's sort of natural. But I mean, still, your crafting chances are going to be insanely low. And crafting in the game, like I said, is that like this is a yellow bow. You can see the yellow text up top, and what that means is that's not like a standard item that drops. It could be a one of, right? It like this is it. This is the one that rolled it.
Yeah, so
For
this
all
is
the
a
people
rare that has, you'll see on the left-hand side here, P1, 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 S1, S1, S1. That's prefix, 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 suffix, 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 and one means
Whoa!
tier. So it is tier 1 of all 6 prefixes and
Wolverine.
suffixes. So not only is it perfect in its prefixes and suffixes, it's also perfect in its enchant. So the enchant is easy to get. But these are also, these 3 things here, these are called the synthesized implicits. These don't normally row on this bow. You can only get this if you specifically find a spine bow with 3 synthesized implicits on it, and then you have to roll it. You have to like basically randomize each implicit separately, or not separately. Each implicit can randomly be removed and be replaced with something else. So you have to get all 3 of them to be not rolled over and not. You have to be. It's very difficult. It takes a ton of time. So what people do is they spend time and effort to make these mirror tier items, and then they charge a fee, not 5 million mirrors or whatever this guy's charging, but it's typically like 140 divine, 150 divine.
And so what Matt said earlier, the mirror dropping is the rarest item that can drop. That's an quantifiable.
It's worth the most
thing.
expensive rare item in the game because that's what it can copy.
The rares are even more rare when they're crafted like this. So the mirror allows you to copy it, right? So in essence, there are going to be more mirrors in the game by far than this specific bow, right? So that's why they're so rare. But video games this week, the really big news, Pat, if you want to share it, and I know that you have some experience with
this. This game.
I watched gameplay of it. It looks pretty good, but it looks kind of just like a ripoff of Ark Survival Evolved.
That's the funny thing is it's legitimately like Ark, but if you had the Pokemon elements from
right.
It. And one of the
cool.
most bullshit parts of Ark is waiting around to like tame a dinosaur and then taking care of it in such an in-depth way. Whereas what they decided to do with Pal World is, as you can tell by like the artwork that we've got here on screen, it's definitely, cartoony and such. But I just unlocked the butcher's knife, so I can just kill any of these if they're in my party, harvest their meat, leather, make armor out of like my adorable little kitten friends. Like I legitimately built a stone mine, and now I just keep these like cats just mining 24/7. You're able to like just really have a lot of fun with it, and I really like the survival aspects of it. You're out there, you're mining to get stone, chopping down trees, you're doing the regular workbenches, you're upgrading to crafting benches, getting iron so that you can make metal weapons. It's got the pretty standard survival aspects as far as your growth. Your progression is definitely allotted to you at a pretty regular speed, so you feel as though you're constantly getting stronger. And along with that, much like Pokemon, your team, you've got a party traveling with you, so you're out there not just killing monsters, your pals as they call them, but you're also capturing them with pal spheres instead of Pokeballs. You got these other mechanics to be able to grab them and keep them and have them not just in your traveling party, but also to legitimately put them into forced labor in your camp so that you can get this like rotation of different helping hands. It's super fun. The combat's solid. So far I'm really into it. I'm probably gonna either live stream or do a couple of hours of recording tomorrow. So whether or not you guys are interested, the content's coming out. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe so you can see when we go live with that sort of stuff.
This would definitely be a type of game that I would play with you with.
It's single player, multiplayer. You can host a server of up to 32 people, and you can change a lot of the settings in the worlds you create. So very similar to the Ark single player, where you can do more damage, take less damage, have more stamina, change drop rates, and take a lot of the grind out of it.
You can
So,
disable drop your items on when you get killed, so you don't actually just drop everything.
yes,
That's the default.
I legitimately did that at like 6:30, right before we were getting ready to come on behind the scenes. I was running through a dungeon, and I was like, "Oh, I should change this so if I fuck up and die, I don't lose all my stuff and have to run back." Because it's
So,
you know.
in summary, I was watching Asmongold play, and Richie Dubs even tried it earlier today and said it wasn't for him. And there's going to be those out there that, not every game appeals to everybody. But the best from what I've watched, which is admittedly not like hours and hours, I'm vaguely aware of it, because you guys were talking about it behind the scenes in the chat. So I went and checked it out, and Richie Dubs played it. Asmongold has been reviewing it, and he seems to love it. But it seems to me, and one name that I'm not hearing anybody say, but it gives me definite vibes, is there. It feels a lot like a Minecraft element. It's like they blended Pokemon, Minecraft, and Ark all together in a single kind of game. And is that a fair statement? It really had Minecraft.
What of Minecraft? What does it have of Minecraft? I don't get anything Minecraft from it.
Mining the materials, set like you set your own server with a number of people that can play it, and the attributes that you can play with it, and even putting down like your crafting benches and all that kind of stuff. It just had some of those elements. So if you like Minecraft and gathering materials and building your stuff, it's obviously in a very different way. It's more like, I guess, Ark in that respect. But
it's more like I don't get any Minecraft vibes from it at all. And I mean, maybe the automation, because like there's how in Minecraft where they have the really intricate like automation of like things. There is some ways of doing that, kind of Satisfactory like. If you've ever played Satisfactory, there you can do like conveyor belts and create like nails into have two. Satisfactory is a great game, by the way.
So I mean, Richie played it, and he said it's very Minecraft like. And I like I said, it just feels like there's lots of elements. So if you like any of those games, this may appeal to you. And it just released this week. Is it free to play?
It is free to play on the Xbox Game Pass.
It's free if you have Game Pass. Otherwise, I believe it's $30, $29.99, something like that.
Would that be like on Steam or something? Is that where this launched at? Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to touch on this because it is the hot topic. And in other gaming news this week, as you see behind me, for those of you that are into the ARPG, like Matt showed earlier with the Path of Exile, which is one of the top ARPGs out there. This week, Diablo 3 released season 30. So it's I wouldn't say it's like making tons of waves out there, but it is like the newest release. It was a little curious because the bigger release that's coming up this week, I believe on the 23rd, if somebody wants to fact check me there, I think it's the 23rd. Diablo 4 is going to release its season 3, and there's supposed to be a lot of changes. Not really appealing to me much because it's leaderboard stuff, which is kind of that competitive thing. So you can see how well you're doing versus other people. I'd say that it's underwhelming. I've watched a lot of the release videos. So if you're looking for Diablo 4, it doesn't appear to me that they're going to change it in a way that's going to make you love it if you didn't already. So
Diablo 4 season 3, Season of the Construct release date.
Yeah, it adds like another Merc style thing. But they even ripped off part of Path of Exile, and what I'm going to talk about there real quick.
The intro screen.
Path of Exile, your abilities are runes, and then you have support runes for those runes, and you level them up. Well, this is going to be a pet that has basically runes. I don't remember what they call them. And you have like the primary runes, and then you have the subsequent runes to those runes, and everything gets upgraded. And it's like, I'm a little disappointed that they're going in directions that it feels like they're taking things from other games, right? That they're not blazing the trail, which Blizzard was known for.
Yeah, they're not innovating anything.
No, they're innovating nothing. It feels like they're trying to appeal to far too many people. Like, hey, let's make everybody happy. If you're going to try to appeal to a casual audience, like a lot of people have been saying Diablo 4 is for the casual gamer. Well, leaderboards aren't for casual people; those are for competitive people. So,
but people have been begging for leaderboards since before
some people have. This is what I'm saying. If you're appealing to just this small subset, that's look, I hate to say it, but the tryhards bitch a lot more than the casuals. Casual people,
they're way more vocal.
Take the time to comment, but the casual people make the lion's share of the revenue that these games make. Period. End of story. The casual people are the ones that spend a lot more money because it's a much larger audience. And if you're going to appeal to the casuals, you should really lean into that. Let Path of Exile take the tryhards. It's already a very finicky game that you're going to have to be committed to. It's not a low barrier of entry to get into Path of Exile. And I'm going to bet Path of Exile 2 is not going to be much lower, right? They're going to want to capture much of the same audience. And it's great that there's all this diversity out there in the gaming world. But if I'm just surprised by, like they need to fix the itemization, like Mr. Llama said on the episode last week, that's the biggest problem, meaning that there's not satisfactory enough drops, not easily obtainable enough by the masses.
Wait, hold on, Pat. Don't scroll past it. That's a big fucking change. Diablo 4 health tide changes. There's only a 5-minute break now. That's actually insane.
It basically just juices the loot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That expedites the gameplay tremendously. Now, it was this weird scenario where like you'd be in the middle of doing something and then a health tide would spawn. You're like, I gotta go do the health tide. I gotta stop everything I'm doing. I gotta go do that now. So it was kind of annoying. But now this just means that like you're just gonna be able to gear your character exponentially faster.
Which means that people will grow bored of it much faster.
Yeah, listen, I've played Diablo 4. I don't think it's a terrible game. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it is a mediocre game, and that's a problem because it is a company that has 3 other titles behind their belts that they should be able to create and a masterpiece. And they've created masterpiece not they, the title company has created, but not the people that are working behind it. They're just, I don't know. They don't think they're going to fix it. I think it's going to be 10 seasons down the road where it might be
bigger problem. To say that it's a mediocre game, and that's in general the biggest sentiment out there is that it's not bad, and I played it as well. Yeah. And again, I have the same thing that it's okay.
I had fun for a little bit.
It's the most expensive product for ARPGs on the market. There's nothing that costs more for entry than Diablo 4.
Last Epoch is way better, honestly.
But I'm just saying, you have three options out there as a buying public that can be just as rewarding, if not more, and you have a mediocre game at the highest price point. That's not good.
Yeah, Richard, that was also, by the way,
possibility of the expansion being up to $100 to expand on. It's like it's just not good the direction they're going.
People that have the Xbox Game Pass, if you're not familiar with how the Xbox Game Pass works, basically, you pay for a subscription, you get access to whatever's on the Game Pass for not for free, but for the subscription cost. So you pay, say it's $10 a month. You pay $10 and you get access to any game on the Xbox Game Pass. You could download, install, and play right off the rip. I don't want to shill for it, but it's actually a damn good deal.
And also,
even new titles that come out are still free, which is pretty wild. What were you saying?
Also includes some cloud gaming, so you don't even need to download some of these AAA titles. You can just play them instantly, sometimes even from your phone if you have the correct software. Yeah,
but I wanted to elaborate on that. You can actually get it for cheaper. You can get it for like $2 to $3 a month, depending on what you do. So there are times where you can buy gold membership Xbox codes. And you can buy them for, like I said, roughly around $2 to $3. You can get them for like 6 months at like a discounted rate, and then you can use that and you can redeem them on. You just look up a guide how to redeem Xbox Gold memberships for Xbox Pass time. I have over a year of Xbox Game Pass that I only spent like $60 for. You can get like some crazy good deals, and it's still able to be done. It's just like Xbox game codes for some reason can be claimed and then transferred into the Xbox Game Pass. I don't know how or why it happens, but I've done it, so it works for sure, unless they've changed it. So Google it, but just a heads up.
I don't think this is an Xbox Games Pass title, though.
What?
Diablo 4.
No, we were talking about the Super Pal, and then in the chat, we were talking about.
Oh, gotcha.
Game Pass.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Diablo 4 is not on Xbox Game Pass yet. I actually don't. It might. It actually might come out on Xbox Game Pass.
Well, but the point with Diablo 4 is it's like the biggest hype coming out in the next week. Oh yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah,
but
like it. Probably.
I don't know of anybody
Um,
that's actually hyped. To be honest,
I mean,
Maybe
I watch a
marketing
lot of
is.
different content creators, and many of them are very hyped for this, and it just feels like a lot of copium. And I think the basic problem I
That's what I
have
was
with it
saying,
is that
Richie.
it's not super exciting enough to like lure me in, even though I own the game, and I barely play it. And they're it's the most expensive ARPG that I've ever played, and you could buy Diablo 2 Resurrected for $13 on sale, and you never have to pay a penny more.
Yeah.
And get just as many hours out of it as Diablo 4, and actually I prefer it. But it understand that if you're going to play Diablo 4 and you're seeing the hype out there and you all are interested in it, it's a pricey game for what you're getting. I think the value is just not there, and that was part of the what I wanted to point out. Speaking about things this week, I don't know how many dogs and cat lovers out there. They just announced it. They just announced this, I believe, yesterday. So they have a new secret lair, another commander deck. If you love Ren and Ciri and all these cat and dog cards with Anointed Procession getting a reprint here.
That's kind of
Special
adorable.
Soul Ring, cats and dogs, lands, tokens. And the biggest thing that jumps out at me, I don't even know if it's on here. Yeah, right here. Why?
English only. $149.99.
Wow. Oh,
it depends on what's in there. Pack? You keep scrolling past the list. What's in here?
Okay, I mean we can go through it. But there's nothing in here that, like I think it's like maybe
lands worth a damn.
60 if you were able to sell every single card in here, which we know things like Sheltered Thicket. You're not gonna be able to sell that card.
Yeah, Fortified Village. No land's worth more than a couple dollars. They're all shit lands, so that's interesting.
Even I think weren't these like Sun Petal Grove? Weren't those initially in? It's showing Ixalan. Were those really initially in Ixalan? I think they were. I thought these were the ones that were in Modern Horizons 1. Was that a reprint in Modern Horizons 1? So at any rate, agreed. I mean, nothing super exciting here.
Cats and dogs, for some reason, they keep going back to this well because they know it sells.
But I mean, it's just there's not like really they showcased it. So they tell me they don't pay attention to, secondary market value, Anointed Procession.
Somebody threw together a Moxfield list of the actual deck list and the versions of the cards. It is $240 of value. Now let me sort it.
And as soon as these reprints hit, you're going to pay $150, and by the time you get the product, all that value will have dropped.
Ramaz is $16. We've got a Quasali Slingers is $16. Never heard of that card in my life. And then Mercy's $8. So a couple $8, and then that goes down to $3. 3 visits is $5. In the Artifacts, Masquerade Nexus $6. Skull Clamp $6.
Card's so good.
Anointed Procession is $47, so that helps.
Well,
lurking
it won't be after this printing.
As far as lands, there is a Jetmir Garden in there. That's $21. And then after that, it's $3. So realistically, the only cards worth more than $10 is a Jetmir's and Anointed Procession. So that's $67. And then...
And the problem is these, I mean, I know that they have a limited window, but it's still print to demand, right?
Yeah.
So
I thought they stopped that. I thought it wasn't print to demand anymore.
Yes, it is.
I thought they specifically went against that now. I thought it's a limited quantity. That's the change of 2024.
Oh, you might be right.
I'm like fairly certain that was the change that they're doing. It's no longer print to demand.
Regardless, you're putting thousands more copies of Anointed Procession in the market, period.
Yeah, Wizards has announced the Secret Lair will be moving away from their print-to-demand model to a limited print run model for most of the product line. So actually, I don't fucking know. It specifically says most.
Although, at any rate,
these are
so if they feel like printing more, if it sells really well, they'll print more.
That's 5,000 more copies of Anointed Procession about to hit the market, and Jetmir Garden, and they're just not going to be able to take the reprints.
You don't think so? It's used in a lot of decks.
No. 5 of the cards are flippy cards, where it's cats on one side and dogs on the other.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of adorable.
Honestly, they're leaning into the cat and dog lovers out there, right?
If they maintain a limited quantity, it's going to be valuable. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Just telling you. I don't think you're going to get $240 worth of value out of this deck. I think by the time this is printed, you might get $100 worth of value, period, if you could even sell the cards.
I don't even think that it's so much about that for this specific product.
No, it's for the art.
I think that, for most people that are buying this, it's probably just, oh my God, I love kitty cats. I got to get this deck.
That's what they're leaning into.
Outside of that, though, I do honestly think that some of the specialty versions, if like Anointed Procession, I think that that's a great version of a card where somebody would pay a premium for the legitimate Magic the Gathering card, but it's got doggies on it. I mean, kitty.
So anyways, you see, we even have differing opinions here on the show. We'll see where it goes. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think the price point is far too high. They're printing 100 pieces of cardboard, and in all honesty, if you're going to lean into game pieces, make it cheap. But they want to charge a premium, and I'm just telling you, I think it's going to be a feel bad.
Well, I think there's two routes they could go with this. They could go the route of having a $99.99 good value, and then it risks the chance of tanking the value of all the cards in it because it's able to be got for so cheap. Or they could go the route of trying to preserve the cost of the card by giving it a price tag that is in between the value of the cards and in between being cheap, because it's not the full price, because it could be $200 and you'd still be gaining $40 in value, but instead you're gaining $90 in value if you could get every penny out of it.
So I agree with you, and here's where that logic tends to break down, because I've said it over and over again. And even when I brought it up to Mark Rosewater, the price of M30, was it intended, he didn't admit it, but if you did the math, to preserve the value of the collector's edition and international collector's edition, because it's the most comparable thing that you can compare the set to. And it did the same thing. Let's set the price point so we don't tank collector's edition and international collector's edition. And the public still was outraged by it. Right? So you're talking about the exact same principle here. What's that?
I said I haven't checked on those in a while. How are the Magic 30 doing?
They're dropping like a rock, but eventually, look, and I'm going to say it here, and we'll just have to wait 10 years to see how wrong Bob is. But M30 is 4 times more rare than Alpha. Okay, there are 4 times less cards than Alpha. And can be even rarer if you only go with the retro bordered ones. So it is a hyper rare product. It has a lower print run than the Mythic editions. It's very, very, very rare. And I think it's even rarer because of the outrage. The price point was already going to make it a rare product. And when you make something that rare, ultimately down the road, when people's feelings are not so hurt and you don't have content creators blaming it for everything wrong with Magic, that eventually the collectors out there will want to have that super rare piece of Magic in their collection, just like Summer Magic, right? So it is an extremely rare product that was offered for the smallest window of time. It was only ever available for you to buy for 30 minutes.
Until secondary market, but even that.
Well, but secondary market, you could buy anything. You buy Alpha, right?
What's the secondary market look for the 30th collectors right now? What's the price on those?
100.
First off, they're not proxies. So if you say something's a proxy, you're just patently wrong. Number one, they are a WotC printed product, and they don't print proxies. Secondly, a proxy means it's supposed to stand in for something else. Why would you buy something that's hyper expensive to stand in for an actual proxy? That doesn't make sense. So it is a collectible item that has collector on it. But it's definitely not a proxy. And if you're playing with those cards as proxies, you're either Daddy Warbucks and you got enough money to throw around at products like that and shouldn't complain anyways. But they're clearly not a proxy. A proxy is something you buy for 10 cents, not $1,000 for 4 packs. Now, are they tournament legal? No. but neither is International Collector's Edition. Nobody calls those proxies. Neither are the what were they? The World Championship decks, also not proxies.
Right.
So they are official products, officially licensed and made by WotC. And proxies are something you buy from not a sponsor, but would love to have them sponsor us. Make playing cards, right? And there's hundreds of other proxy sites out there that make cards that are not made by WotC, still not tournament legal, and not a collectible item.
Yeah, Twiddler, I get what you're saying as far as it's a card that you would not. It feels like a proxy because it's not a real card. So I get what you're saying, but like the definition of an actual proxy is basically like when you can, it's impractical for you to own the real thing. You use something as a stand-in to replace it. And if these cards were, if Magic 30 was super cheap, then you can consider it a proxy because then it'd be practical for you to just buy the proxy set and then use that as, or I should say the collectible set or the Magic 30 set, and then use those as proxies. But because they're like so expensive, that's what changed my mind. I actually was on board with calling them proxies as well from the get-go. But as time goes on, because of the because of the definition of what a proxy is, it's hard to use a $1,000 card as a proxy, even if it is a $1,000 card of a $10,000 card. It's still fairly impractical when you can just like the same thing. You could just print it if you're using it as a proxy. You just print it out on your printer, and that's 10 cents or 5 cents or whatever, or from MPC for 13 cents or whatever. So yeah, it's shit, but. I don't know. I don't think anybody really likes Magic.
I mean,
30.
how you feel about the product, sure, if you don't like it, but it's clearly not a proxy.
I would have liked it if it was cheap, but I don't know. I have,
and I think that I honestly think it's a product. I think it's a product that should never have been made. I own it.
You know what?
I'm glad
Honestly,
to have my collection.
With how lucky I've been in Path of Exile, I probably should open those. I got a Black Lotus, definitely no doubt. Like I got that.
We'll do it right here on stream. Rip it.
Hit my house.
If they're not real cards and you're not worried about the value and they're all game pieces, go ahead, crack a pack.
So just to kind of harken back, I want to read three what did actuaries? Is that what they're actually called?
Yeah, an actuary is a person who figures out how likely something is to happen, usually in reference to death or getting hurt.
So there's 3 actuaries, harkening back to Finding a Mirror of Kalandra, just for 2 seconds. I know nobody gives a shit, but the actuaries are funny. So the odds of a single player finding 2 mirrors in Path of Exile is roughly equivalent to the odds of a meteor landing on your house. I'm fucked because I found 2 mirrors. You have roughly the same odds of finding a Mirror of Kalandra as you do dying from a mountain lion attack in California. And then you are twice as likely to get attacked by a shark than you are to find a Mirror of Kalandra. So I ain't going swimming, and I'm keeping an eye on the stars for meteors.
The only thing that makes me scratch my head are those actuary tables from previous seasons and not the loot balloon season that's this year. This was previous. Yeah. So the league mechanic juicing the drop rates is interesting because like we don't know, and then there's also some suspect that like it's possible that they like enhanced, like they reduce or they increased the drop rate of mirrors this league. It's possible. I think it's just the league mechanic, but they don't ever tell us what they do. Like they don't give specifics on like they constantly change drop rates by, I don't know, never telling us. They could just like they just change the database. They don't really ever tell us. Every now and then they'll tell us if they like shift a unique to a different rarity. If it's like from tier 1 to tier 0 rarity, for instance, they'll say that. But like if the drop rate was 0.0001% chance and then they changed it to 0.0001 or 0.0001, then they didn't have to say anything, and it could have just happened. It's still super rare, but I don't know. I think it's just the league mechanic is super juiced, and I think that it interacts in ways that they didn't intend it to, and I think that they, pretty honestly, previous GGG would have nerfed it immediately. I'm actually baffled that they're letting this happen. A guy finding over 30 mirrors in a league is actually insane. That is like, to me, that's game breaking. They actually kind of need to fix it, but I don't know. They're just not. They're just letting it burn in a good way. Well, but how does it break the game? Is it just breaking the economy?
Well,
It's not pay to win, so it's still people have to go out and find them.
Or
you
is it
can
just that
you can
mirrors
RMT
people
these
now?
technically. Like it's against the terms of service, but you can definitely sell this on. Like there's nothing preventing me from finding some website that'll buy my mirror of Calandra for $50 or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
but
worth.
that's not built into the game itself. It's not the game designers making it a pay to win strategy like say Black Desert Online or one of those other kind of games.
Yeah. There's nothing.
The,
Yeah.
the,
So the only thing that's really
manufacturer itself.
changing. You could say that it's impacting standard because once this league is over, everything in this league goes to standard. So it could like mess up the standard economy.
But how many people play standard versus the current
very
leagues?
few. It's like less than 5%. It's very, very
so it's like
few.
Diablo Eternal Wastelands.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my god, $80. Oh, that's on standard though. What about Affliction? Affliction's $108, I guess. $180.
Well, there you go. Make a couple $100 for yourself, man.
Old as fuck. Sentinel League was 3 leagues ago.
So if I'd like to know from the audience, can we actually put up a poll and maybe leave it up to the end of the stream about how many people would like to see us do some sort of pack opening function here on our channel, or if they just want to keep hearing us talk about games. I'd like to even know what the interest level is out there. Like I said, I want to keep it as equitable as possible for everybody involved, and we would have to talk about that and discuss it. But I'd like to understand from you guys, what would you like to see? I mean, you guys have been showering us in money tonight, and good God, I'm grateful for that. That feels strangely, it's not about making money. It's just the interaction is wonderful to see. It does feel good. It feels like you're patting us on the back for keeping at it for so long and bringing. I agree that the pack opening thing is a saturated market, and we try to bring you opinions and not just on Magic, clearly. I enjoy opening packs as relevant as possible. I'll be honest with you. With these, with ARPGs, there is a definite feel for the pack opening addict in me. For doing runs in a high rune will drop in Diablo 2 or in Path of Exile with the mirror dropping, or, doing your gambling, or Diablo 3 to an extent, doing your rift runs and getting the boss to drop that moment when they drop that loot. It definitely has a very similar feel.
Yeah. I did a bunch of boss.
Is that Commander Legends Baldur's Gate? Is that what CLB is? Oh, yeah. Good God, no.
I do have a pack.
I won't.
I went down. I supported my local gaming store. I like to chat with the owner, hang out, shoot the breeze for a while, catch up on stuff. But I'm not really big into the same type of pack opening. But if someone is interested in having us do that, let us know down in the poll that's going live or in the comment section later on.
Listen, if you want to pay me to open your packs of cards, you can mail me any of your product and I will open it live on stream. I gave this example in our chat the other day. I don't understand why people do it. Can anybody explain, anybody that's purchased cards or purchased packs for people to open on stream, why did you do it? Explain this to me.
I don't get it. Actually, I actually can. So when you open your packs at home by yourself, you're not sharing that experience with anybody. It's not. And actually, with Pat and I, do you remember Pat on Lance Cothern's show?
Yeah, there is definitely that.
And I got the Jewel Lotus, because of that competition. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah, and the discard card.
But there's that community experience with opening the packs. I think that a lot of people like to have the community see their hit get opened live and get to share that dopamine hit with multiple people is what the experience, what drives a lot of people to do it on stream. Like with Rudy opening a box for you, that hundreds of thousands of people got to see your, the One Ring opened kind of thing.
I don't know. The excitement for me is physically opening the pack and like looking through the cards myself. I don't get any enjoyment at all from watching somebody else open my product. I gave the example. It's like buying a blowjob for somebody else and then watching it. Like I just
hey, there's some people that are into that.
No, I get it.
I get
yeah.
I get to sharing the experience with other people. It's not always about value or doing it yourself, but I get the shared community experience with things, right? Having a pack battle with Pat, who's hundreds of miles away, we can actually do it live.
Yeah, I get it in person.
Stand in for us.
I don't know. I don't get the same kind of feel. Like if you're opening something for me, I don't get any. Like I did it one time, and the only reason I did it on. I actually don't even remember whose channel it was. One of. It was there was like a God, now I feel like an asshole. I don't remember. MTG Attitude, and was it that where they were doing like not an auction, a charity thing.
Battle.
Yeah.
It was a charity. It was some kind of charity, and I'm like, fine, if it's for charity or whatever, or some kind of like fundraising. It was for something. I had them open some stuff for me, and I'm just like, yay, you get to mail me the stuff that you opened. I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same. But I enjoy cracking the packs myself. So if you want to share your experience and you enjoy that kind of stuff,
people love.
I'll get a PO box. You can mail me your stuff and I'll open it, or you can give me money and I'll buy it online and open it. That's actually one thing we could do.
Do you still have Rudy's? Thing?
That's what I was going to mention. So I am still a patron on Rudy, which is Alpha Investments. Not really shilling for that. There's probably available patrons. He's been pissing people off lately, which I just don't understand. I don't get why they're mad. But anyways, he's sick for like a week, and people like unsubscribe because he's not releasing content. Like a bunch of dickheads. Anyways, so I can get us really cheap boxes. I think it's $89 shipped on a lot of the Magic the Gathering boxes for draft, and then like a wide variety of other prices. So I'm looking at the prices. 2 seconds. So right now I can
Does it have Ixalan?
Nope. March of the Machine, Streets of New Capenna, Crimson Vow, Infinity Box, Brothers War, Dominaria, Jumpstart 2022, Wilds of Eldraine, Phyrexian, All Will Be One, Kamigawa, and Baldur's Gate. So all of those are draft except for Baldur's Gate is our set boxes, which realistically $89 shipped for set Baldur's Gate 2, a Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. That feels like a good deal.
Yeah. At any rate, I just wanted to see what the audience felt about that. I'm not super in favor of it. I like yammering. I like talking. I like, let's stir it up. Let's mix it up. Let's get into it.
Oh no, they're going for $76 on. Oh, plus $15 shipping, so they're $90. Yeah, so it's still a good deal. No tax.
Maybe we'll even do it with Lorcana. Nobody's really opening Lorcana for other people. Maybe we can
I'm
do
sure
that.
There are.
I haven't. But anyways, we can do that.
Second votes in.
But yeah, I don't have any Lorcana to open.
They would rather just keep it real as far as whether or not they would like us to take part in pack or box openings. More than half of the audience here is saying no. 29% say yes, and 14% say just want to watch you do it. So
I'm happy with sharing my own openings every now and then. Every now and then I get the itch,
Sure.
So I have like a bunch of stuff behind me still on the shelf, and every now and then I'll just open a box and then I'll feel bad doing it.
So if you want to have your packs cracked, I'm glad I got the order correct there on saying that. Head on over to Twiddler's Place. Check him out. He does a lot of pack cracking for folks and fun little games mixed in with it to enjoy the experience. So I think DJ has battles every now and then. So those are really the places to go for that kind of stuff. Here you come for like unsolicited opinions. I don't know if it's unsolicited because you guys come in and tune in. Clearly, you've been enjoying it tonight.
Subscribing. This is your own fault.
True.
But honestly, as far as the big news today with the secret lair, in short, I just don't feel that it's really truly worth that kind of price tag. Not to me, not for a single commander deck, for something I think that is going to appeal to a niche market. It's going to be tough to sell. And even if you realize when you sell something, folks, you're going to have taxes and shipping and all that on top of the taxes and shipping you paid to buy it in the first place. So it's not going to be $150. It's going to be $150 plus tax, right?
I think it's fair. I think it's a fine price. It's not overly expensive for an entire commander deck, especially a themed commander deck. Like, I don't know. How much money would you pay for somebody to like make you custom art of a deck that you really, really wanted of a theme? Like, I feel like that's kind of the theme.
Really? Are you going to really ask that question? Because I can get it for $29.99 from MakePlayingCards.com.
No, you can't. You can't. No, I'm saying you're paying somebody to tailor a deck around a specific theme. Every single card in the deck is specifically around that theme. So it's a bit of a niche market. You'd know, because how long would it take you to find art that are all cats and dogs for every single card in the game? I don't think you could find it. Like NPC has, you could do it yourself, but how long would that take you? Is it worth your time?
Okay, well, you didn't say that. You
Hours,
said
it's worth.
How could you do it? I could absolutely do it for $29.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying for the money, it's actually not a bad deal because you're getting more than the value that you're spending in cards, and you're getting.
So there you have it.
Matt
gives his seal of approval on the Cats and Dogs Secret Lair. I'm a big no. I don't know where Pat falls on it.
Yeah, I'm totally fucking fine with it. Like,
it's a fine price.
For me, I would never buy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy it, but I think it's a fine.
Okay,
price.
So I'm the one that's
just
against it, but none of us are actually buying it. So take that for what it's worth.
100% clarity. For less than half of that price, you could just buy it as far as proxies, and it would.
Now, granted, now once the art is fully out for all of those cards, you can probably just then export all of that into Make Playing Cards and get it for about less than $30.
That's exactly what my plan is. I'm going to surprise my pod. I know none of them watch because I make a joke out of it. So what I'm going to do for my pod is I'm going to proxy up all 4 of the Warhammer decks so we can all play them together. And it's going to be less than half of the price, whereas if I were to buy them, which is just fucking nuts. And then we have 4 decks. They're all reasonably the same power level, and we can play that over and over and over.
You pulled up Murders at Karlov Manor.
Yeah, we got spoilers if you guys want to go over any of this.
Yeah, I thought about that, baby. I thought about doing like shorts on this.
Yeah, I need to make shorts. We're dying here. Like our shorts are like a major driver of the people coming in, and I haven't made shorts in 2-3 weeks now because I burnt myself out in December. But I really got to get some shorts going because I haven't looked at any of these. I would prefer to. Well, it doesn't matter. Treacherous Creed automatically looks good.
Sack a creature that dealt damage this turn. Draw 3 cards. Each opponent loses 3 life. You gain 3 life. That is
that's not terrible. The stipulation on having to sacrifice a creature that's also dealt damage is a little rough, but well, you're in white black. I don't know. It's an instant card, so that's
Flying
nice.
Spirits. What are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. There's plenty of ways to get it enabled. I think it's going to see play for sure. That's a card that, I mean, draw 3, each opponent loses 3. So you're dealing 9 damage on average. You're dealing 9 damage and gaining 3 life and drawing 3 cards for 3 mana. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, this definitely goes like in an aristocrat kind of deck.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. It's in the right colors for sure. It's in a great colors.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fine card. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like
as a sack outlet too, which you might not have on the board. If you're playing like a Teysa Karlov deck where you're doubling your death triggers, this is going to be phenomenal for that because you want that thing to die. So it's definitely going to see play. I think this is.
I think it should be 2 mana, but I think they went on the safer side.
Get rid of the colorless on it.
Yeah, get rid of the color because it requires because it has a stipulation that not only are you sacrificing not only are you sacrificing a creature, but you have to sacrifice a creature that's dealt damage. That's that's a pretty big loop to jump through.
But it's still, I mean, the amount that you get back for it, drawing 3 cards, Ancestral Recall on top of doing 9 damage. It's like, dude, that's an 18-point life swing plus draw 3 cards, and you want it to be 2 mana? That's crazy.
Wow. I
think it's 12, fair.
But...
And just a hot take on this card before we move on to the next one. I feel as though if they did use AI art, it would probably look better than this artist did.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that art doesn't appeal to me. Honestly, the whole set art is not really like it's not on the Bloomborough level. You know what I mean? Like, just not amazing.
Undergrowth
to me.
Recon. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Meh.
It's okay.
Right. That's about as much as I can see on that. Like
having to play it and then wait an entire turn for it to do anything for 3 mana just kind of feels like you waste your turn. Because then you also have to have something that interacts with it. You have to have like some kind of landfall trigger. You have to have some kind of I mean, you could just like even if you get a fetch land, because it comes in the battlefield tapped, then you have to wait to fetch. I don't know. It just becomes very strange.
Or well, I mean,
I'd rather just play Scape Shift or any kind of other return
over
land
and over
from...
and over. You know, just
isn't Crucible? Wait, hold on. Isn't Crucible of Worlds just straight up better than this?
Yes.
Crucible of Worlds is 3 mana, and you can just play your lands from the graveyard.
Yeah.
It's just fucking better.
So you just do
and
that,
it's colorless. Anyways,
the
this card's trash.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Well, I think it's only 1 land too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you only get 1 every time, and Crucible World lets you play them from the graveyard, and they're not tapped.
What is this artwork? What is
that? Is a sad gargoyle.
A 4/3 for 5. It
sorry,
better be like game breaking, but it's only an uncommon, so I'm going to guess that it's not. I think we can just move on.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't want to go through every card here.
No, I only look at rares at this point. That's not true. There are some bangers.
Now that one is 8/4 for 4.
So we've got Anne's,
which I like,
the Quake Mole, a legendary mole god creature. When this card becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After this combat phase, there's an additional combat phase. Ooh, interesting.
So you can also pay 7 mana to give him a lure, basically,
which isn't going to happen.
Which no, I mean it could. There are situations, but either way, the one thing I like about this is I don't even care any of what he does. He has commander damage, so I guess that could matter. But what I really like about this card is that it's a 4 mana 8/4. So any fight ability that you have, any draw cards equal to your risk. What is it? Risk cards expertise. Draw cards equal to your highest power. Like this card enables those cards to be way more valuable because you're only paying 4 mana for an 8/4. Like that value turns on so much other value. So I like it. I love cards like this where they're like really kind of wonky, but like 4 mana for an 8/4, no matter how you spin it, is damn good.
So let me ask you this: it says whenever he becomes blocked. I assume no matter how many block, it's only one time.
What I'm also seeing on that is it doesn't have a only happens once per turn, or you can only attack the same player once. Like,
ooh, you could do some thug. Okay, you could do some. You can do some dirty ass tech where you attack one player with this card and be like, "Hey, if you block it, all of my other creatures will continually attack a different player."
Right, and it doesn't have trample. So
nope,
it's just
and then you can just chump block it, and then all your other creatures just smash the face of another dude.
Right.
Like, oh man, that's I can see some politics happening with this card
also
too.
Got the ridiculousness of untap each creature you control.
Yeah,
tag right on there too. So it's like Elvis. You're just getting so much value here. The politicking on this could get pretty crazy. I would like to see this in a deck. Maybe this is going to be something new that I try and cook up. Who knows?
Oh, I could see this being a great addition to, or a great commander deck.
Well, and what screams to me that you automatically play with that card is definitely going to be Yavimaya Hollow. Right. So even if it dies, you res it and then it just untaps at the end of combat and you get to attack with it against somebody else. So yeah, I mean, there's just lots of things that would go good with it. So it's a good Gruul card.
There's tons of Umbras that can be put on them.
And it could be a commander too at 4 mana. That's not terrible for a commander.
Oh, I think this has to be your commander. I think you build around. This is a card you can build around. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it could be. I'm sure there are other decks that want to do multiple combats that this guy would just be good in as well. But yeah, I like it. It's an interesting card.
Proxy with a different piece of artwork on it because this is dumb as shit.
I mean, it's okay. It's fine. I think this one's okay.
All I can see are like 2 claws. I'm not a fan of the naked mole.
It is very busy. It's hard to kind of tell what's happening, but it looks like a mole bursting out of the ground, which I get it.
So the next one also is interesting for like the graveyard recursion and go hunt up like to me it makes what's Entomb a much better card for Lazav, wearer of faces. So so on turn 1 you go grab your whatever from your deck that's just big and nasty, and then you somehow get a clue out. Turn 2 you have Lazav out there. Because if you look at the text on the bottom, that's the interesting part of this. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, you may have Lazav become a copy of creature exiled with it until end of turn, right? So you could do some nastiness,
I don't like it.
super early.
It's from a graveyard, so
I
it's
don't
not
like
just yours too. And you're playing in blue with this, so you're going to be milling the shit out of somebody else. So not just sniping your graveyard when you're having fun doing it.
Sure.
But you can take
Yeah,
from somebody
it's
else's as you're groaning them and then stealing their creatures.
it feels like you could be
put
blown
Tox
out
Roll with
really
this?
easily with it. Well, because it's only till end of turn. So like if you make this a Tox Roll, everything gets a slime counter, all the 1/1s die, and then he's no longer Tox Roll, so then the slime counters do nothing, and Tox Roll's exiled. Now, I guess you could sacrifice a clue again, and then he becomes a Tox Roll again. It's just, I don't know, it's a lot of hoops to jump through when you could just play Reanimator. Reanimator's just better. I don't know. It's not a bad card. It feels like it's too many hoops to jump through. It is cheap, 2 mana for a 2/3, which is nice. But he has to attack in order to.
I'm just saying that it's not a terrible card.
He
I
has-
don't think it's as good as the Mole God, but
he
I
has
think
to
it's for a
attack,
rare.
though. He's a 2/3 and he has to attack to do anything. I don't know. He has no evasion.
What?
If he had flying, I'd be in.
Why are you? No, he doesn't. It
Yeah,
says whenever
he
you
attacks,
sacrifice a
exile target
clue.
card.
No.
to
You're
generate
not looking at the second part of it. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, it doesn't have to attack. So you
Yeah,
can get
but
whatever ability
you may
you need.
have Lazav become a copy of a creature card exiled with it. So you can only reanimate stuff exiled with Lazav. You
Yeah.
can't just like path it and then become that.
That makes it.
Yeah. So
Patently
that's what I'm
work.
saying. It's very restrictive on its wording.
Yeah, that's too narrow. Next,
X. Yeah. So we've
It's
got
not bad. It's just
infinite
restrictive.
uncommon.
Slime
Um,
against humanity.
gonna
The name
kinda-
is hilarious. I like the name. What is? It can have as many cards named Slime against humanity. Hold on. Create an 0/8 creature token with trample for 3 mana. The number count when it attacks plus number of cards you own exile. Actually,
it's kind of a worse, persistent petitioners or whatever they're called.
but X1 counters on it where X is 2 plus the total number of cards you own in exile. Wait, why do you have exile? Why do you exile them? Wait, I'm confused.
In exile and in your
Oh,
graveyard.
and in your graveyard. So I guess if your graveyard gets exiled, okay, that I like that little additional text. So even if your graveyard gets exiled, you still can slime people.
That's
Yeah, but this is a sorcery, first of all.
Yeah,
Right, so
I
it
was
has
gonna
to be
say
on
if
your
it was
turn.
instant, I'd like it. And also, for some reason, my brain put it as an 0/8 instead of an 0/0.
Yeah.
I read 0/8, and I'm like, ooh, this thing's nuts. But as an 0/0,
Well, what makes it even worse is that if you bounce it, it goes away because it's a token, right?
Yeah.
So
Anyways,
it's just
So I did check out this
next.
Barbed Servitor.
Barbed Servitor, 4 mana, 1/1,
So for the 3 to
indestructible.
black artifact
Suspect It.
construct.
I don't know what the fuck suspect it means. What does suspect it? Do we know what the suspect mechanic is?
Yeah.
There's a
I gotta
lot.
Google.
Did anybody watch the release party this week? I watched it on Jake and Joel, and I know that DJ watched it. And I'll be honest with you, my comment was like you would have to hyper focus on. There were so many new mechanics. I was like, does this set come with a bottle of aspirin?
Okay, so cards may suspect a creature, after which it is suspected. It gains menace and loses the ability to block. Much like Goad, it is incentivized to attack given its new abilities. Creatures that are suspected remain so until they leave the battlefield or an effect removes its suspected status.
Cool.
Okay, so it just gains menace and can't block. Okay.
A 1/1 for 4. I don't care if it's indestructible.
So
because
whenever it does
minus
combat
1
damage to a player, you may draw a card and lose a life. That's pretty decent. And then whenever it's dealt damage, so actually this card's nuts because there are decks built around playing cards like Blasphemous Act first of all. So if you Blasphemous Act, you can just hit somebody for 13. There's decks built around this kind of mechanic, so this card's very good. Piru is one of them. Piru, one of the gods, one of the dragons that you have to pay an upkeep cost or else it blows up. And Piru does damage to all non-legendary creatures, and I think it's equal to its power. So yeah, this card actually is going to see a lot of play in those kind of decks, but it is niche.
Speaking of niche,
It's basically Stuffy Doll.
Hey,
Yeah,
what up,
it's a 4 casting cost Stuffy Doll.
Yeah, it's fine. This is great. This is good.
It seems fine. Like I can see
For those
getting
decks, it's
into
great.
some
Sorry.
decks. Whereas Archdruid's Charm, I think this is fine in green. So for 3 green pips, you get an instant that says choose one. Search your library for a creature or land, reveal it, put it on the battlefield tapped if it's a land, otherwise into your hand, shuffle, or put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It deals
On the mole
equal to its target creature you don't control. So it's not even fight. It's just do damage.
Exactly. 9 damage with the
exile
mole.
target artifact or enchantment.
I think it's a fine card.
Triple green.
The nice thing is it the fact that it's instant and it so long as you got enough specific mana, then it's it's a fine card. I don't know that it'll warrant a 3 mana spot in a deck, and holding up 3 mana in green. Green is a go color, right? It doesn't hold up mana.
Yeah, you don't really want to just hold back mana, and you're gonna have to only play this in dual color decks because triple green. I mean, mana bases nowadays are pretty easy. Maybe you can play it in a tricolor. But
I think if it was 2 green, it would be amazing.
2 green colorless would be fine. But yeah, 3 green makes it a little rough. But I think it'll still see play for sure. Like you said, it's instant speed. It's great.
Well,
Being able to instantly grab a land card, not just basic lands, any land.
Right,
So
but
that's
it's
good.
tapped. So again,
Yeah,
I
but
think it's a
instant speed-
fine card. I just don't
Exile is nice on instant speed as well. Exile artifact or
get rid of your
enchantment.
Barb Servitor.
Exactly. Get that guy out of here. So when you go to
But
you go to
again, like,
Stars,
how many
what is it
green
called?
decks
Stars
do you
End
see
or Stars Demise?
How many green decks do you really see holding up green mana, especially 3?
Well, in a situation like this, you
Don't
would
even
probably.
fill it up.
I can see situations where because green is so good at ramping, you have so much mana that you can leave the 3 up. I
Late
have a
game,
buddy
maybe.
that plays. I have a buddy that plays. He plays mono green. It's like this. I don't. It's like a flip dude. Like if you can like reveal like 7 forests from your hand, and then he flips over, and then every forest taps for green equal to the number of forests you have, or some shit. So he would play this for sure. He has plenty of mana.
I play a lot of green, and it's not.
It's
making any...
it's removal. First of all, it's removal. It's not even destroy. It's exile artifact or enchantment. I think that's important.
Sure.
And then a tutor for any creature and any land is really good. I think regardless, I think you play this in any 2-color green deck. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like the modular aspect of it, so that I think that that's part of the sale for me on this card is that it's not just you.
It does a lot.
You have to choose one. Yeah, sure. But when you play the card, you get to choose one of 3 things. And all of them are decent enough that having those choices on it, it's like Balagad Recovery, because you have the different options. It pushes that up a little bit. So I think that we'll see this one, but it could definitely be better and have gotten to that mythic status.
If it was a sorcery, it would. I don't know.
If it was sorcery, it'd be unplayable.
It'd be pretty bad.
And if it was just 2 green mana, it would be, a $20 card. But as it is, it's it's $1 rare.
Blood Splatter Analysis.
Yeah, what's your analysis on Blood Splatter?
It's 2 mana. I like it. It's cheap. When it enters the battlefield, deals 3 damage to target creature and opponent controls. That's fine. And then whenever one or more creatures die, mill a card and put a Bloodstain counter on Blood Spatter Analysis. Then sacrifice it if it has 5 or more. And when you do, you get to reanimate something. Oh, no, you don't even get to reanimate something. You have to return it to your hand? Nah, it's trash. Get it out of here. Moving on.
It's terrible.
If you've got to do 5 things and you only recover a card, it's bad. I don't know.
So, like, for example, if you go up a little bit to that green one that's the sorcery. It's 1 mana.
That's pretty good,
first of all, the sacrifice means they get to pick. And this is just an example of like bad. This is not going to see play. Maybe in draft.
I disagree.
Nah.
Each opponent, not many people play a lot of enchantments and creatures with flying. I could see situations where this card's bonkers. Like 1 green mana to make each opponent sacrifice an enchantment.
I can see so many games where this is a dead card.
I don't think it's ever dead. It's got so many options. This card's nuts. You're insane. This card has it's each opponent. It's not even affecting you. It's just a free. This thing's great. Okay. It's actually one of the most broken commons in the set.
Yeah. It's not is it
common?
Yeah, this is.
I think it's great.
I don't like it. It wouldn't make.
I don't see this is never going to be dead ever. There's always going to
Okay.
have even if you do the One Ring, they have to if it's their only artifact, they have to sacrifice their One Ring.
Now, what would make this a baller play is like turn 1, you go last, 2 people put out mana rocks.
Mana rocks, and then
Right.
yeah, exactly.
That would be
this card's
amazing.
Great. It's so flexible.
And again, I think it goes back.
Wow,
to
so many new faces. Thank you for showing up, all the new folks. See Hunter Garza there. Thank you.
I don't know.
I don't like
Great.
it.
Better.
I don't like it being sorcery. I think it'd be much better as an instant.
It's
think I'll
dirt
give you
cheap. It only
that.
affects
That right
opponents.
It
there
is
is-
dirt cheap, but I don't know.
If it were an instant, this would have to be uncommon at least. I mean,
Sure.
If you can ever kill
All
three
I'm saying is I'm looking at it
flyers with
going,
one
do I
green,
really put this in my deck or am I going to pick targeted removal?
100%. I put this in the deck. I think it's very flexible. I don't ever want to.
Okay.
I can't think of a bad situation where this card's not playable.
Okay.
especially
Like there's always going to be an artifact, an enchantment, or a flyer. Like that's just always happening. I don't know. It's just even if you kill one creature, it's great. I don't know. It's just great.
And
Okay.
as we proceed along here, I think so. Again, underlying card here, we've got an uncommon called Get a Leg Up for 1 green at instant speed until end of turn. Target creature gets 1/1 for each creature you control and gains reach. I kind of like this. I don't know
It
what
definitely
it is
could
about
be
it,
a
but
blowout.
I like it in standard.
I don't know. It seems to kind of just do it for me for some reason.
Any mass token generator, any mass creature, any flooding creature type deck could definitely make this because whatever they don't block, you just kill them with. Like, yeah,
Put
I
it
could-
in
I
an
could
elf
see it
deck.
being pretty good. Sure, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anything you can make like tons of creatures with, whether it be tokens or flooding the board with your deck or whatever. It'd have to be a token generation, I think, in order for I don't know. I don't typically like cards like this where it doesn't have like a trample effect added onto it. But when we're looking at because it's instant speed, it's not telegraphed, it's only 1 green. Yeah, I can see it being like a gotcha card. I tend to not play those kind of cards because I always feel like you never get that. It's like so rare to ever get the gotcha, but it could definitely happen.
And let's get on down here. We've got into our black cards here. Repeat Offender, Polygraph Orb. Anything jumping out at you here, guys? I like the artwork on this Krovod haunch. Just looks cool.
Lots of draft chaff here, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see any. Okay, there's a mythic. Here we go. How powerful is this 3-mana 4/4 mythic?
I don't
Bessen Weisker 6, Clive Garv,
Yeah,
Sponsored-
pronounce every word on there.
Dunker Scheiker Word bis zum
Dankeschön,
Ender
Schwatzen, Greider.
zu eins Artifact.
Look, it only takes 2 to crew it, at least.
That is true. 100% chance that gets. Can you not click on the card and it like tells you in American?
Sometimes they have like
There we go. So what? So collect evidence.
evidence
Don't know what the
6,
fuck
whatever that means.
Becomes an artifact creature until end of turn.
So
Whenever
that is
it attacks, you can
exile
attach it to
cards
control
from your
monster.
graveyard totaling mana cost X or more. So 6.
So is it saying that whenever? Wait.
Is that an
so-
option or you have to do that?
Artifact creature.
You
till end of
can.
turn. So okay, so you can either crew it or you can collect evidence. That's interesting. So it's a new kind of crew. Because then
Yep.
whenever it attacks, you can
About the
cast an
same
instant sorcery
thing.
spell among cards exiled with if that card will be
Arrogant.
put into a graveyard, put it at the bottom of its owner's library instead. Huh. I don't hate it. This seems like a really cool commander. Farzug. Artifact. I love how artifact is actually like it's kind of correct.
Artifact.
Yeah, it's artifact.
Next, let's get through this list.
All right, yeah.
I got food getting cold upstairs, folks. I'm
I haven't
hungry.
eaten yet. So I'd like to eat. Well, hold on. Go back up a little bit.
Or Wunderpacken Schlitz.
What was the blue one? Profit.
All right. Somebody here, Pat, the next card. Yes, I want you to
Pat.
pronounce that in German, not the American, the German.
So
Weiterfluben.
wide Aufleben der Vergangenheit.
Where's Savannah Lion when you need him?
So
Yeah, where's
I'm
he been? I hope
assuming
he's doing
this
well.
is, A
Let's try to guess
Sorcery?
what this card
Is that an
does
enchantment?
before
Is
we
that what
look
that
at
means?
it. It's
Yeah,
a sorcery.
Oh no, it's a sorcery. Damn, I got it wrong.
Hexerai. That's why I
Hexerai.
figure because hex.
All right, let's try to guess
So-
what it does. It makes a 5/5 elemental in some way, but it costs 7, so it has to be really good. So what does it do?
It's in Spielzeruk.
So if you cast
Freidenhof in
one,
Spielzeruk.
but
Why
there's
are there so many capital letters?
artifact. Is it so? Hold on. Is it supposed to be artifact? But it's like artifact the dark card. It's like extra. So destroy target artifact.
I think you're creating something
Diner wall.
like artifact or cart. I think is like the creating of an artifact.
No, because you make a 5/5 elemental Wizen
I
Kartukan.
think that's after something
Praetorian?
occurs. Like this is.
That's what I'm
probably
saying. I'm thinking you destroy.
I
target
think
artifact.
I think for that
I'm not-
amount you destroy artifacts.
Oh,
Oh no, it's return.
You just can't do this.
Damn
shit.
it.
Return to one artifact card up to one target land and one target non or enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. They are 5/5 elementals in addition to their other type. It's kind of bad. For 7 mana, it's pretty bad.
Artifact, land, and
Normally with 7 mana, you're like getting all of your cards back from your graveyard.
yeah, that's
Like
Well,
what
I
is
don't
the
like
one-
adding. I don't like adding the. So like if it was one of those I win, like like the 8 white mana I win on the next turn kind of card.
ridiculous shit.
That it turns it into a vulnerable because now it's a creature. So now instead of just specific, enchantment removal or artifact removal, it's now a creature as well. I don't like when they do that.
It's too expensive for it has to do more for 7 mana.
So if we had like sound effects, we'd be hitting the next. It was more fun talking about it in German, trying to figure out what the hell it did.
All counters the target creature control, then counter up the target spell unless the controller pays mana equal to the greatest power among. Ooh, that's a wild counter spell. I can see that seeing play in Simic decks for sure.
So I
Especially
kind
counter
of like
Simic
these
decks?
cases.
Oh
so-
man, can you imagine if somebody held up 7 mana for their Cyclonic Rift and you go, nope.
Yeah, I'm just gonna counter it, grow my creatures larger,
and then
and
smack you.
then hit you in the face. It's a very
That would be great.
So
because
I
it's
like
actually
it,
any spell. Not I like that it's not limited.
the case of the locked hothouse. For 3 and a green, you can play an additional land on each of your turns. To
Like it.
solve it, you have to have 7 or more lands. Easy enough. And once it's solved, so once you've meeting that break point, you can look at the top card of your library anytime, play lands, and cast creature and enchantments from the top of your library. That's pretty freaking decent to me.
Sure. I think it's slightly kind of expensive.
If unsolved, solve it at the beginning of your end step. Okay, so you can solve it. So you still have to wait an entire turn in order to get its effect, but
For
4
the
mana. I mean, exploration. Was it exploration? What's the one that it's like a 1 green? You can play a land every turn.
Exploration.
Yeah, exploration is just like it's significantly
Better.
cheaper.
Yeah.
I'd rather just play exploration and then what's that green creature that allows you to just play creatures and spells?
Oh,
off the
there's
top
a
your
few of
library?
them.
There's a couple of them.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't terrible. Like
No.
it's just kind of meh. Maybe there's enchantment decks that would want to play it because it's an enchantment
All right.
and it lets you do stuff. And unless you play
I don't think
enchantments off the top.
I don't think it's terrible, but it's
Yeah.
it's going to be a 12-cent rare is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, almost
Very
certainly.
cool.
Doppelgang, triple X for each X.
Whoa,
target
hold on! You
permanent.
skipped right over the fugitive code breaker there.
Yeah, I don't care about red.
We'll look at it
It's the worst color in Magic. But anyways, what does he do?
But
All
it's
right.
got prowess and haste. I mean, that's not
Wow.
insignificant.
We'll check it out. But Doppelgang, Matt, you got me going on this too.
Triple
X,
X,
green, and
create
a
X
blue.
tokens that are copies of that permanent.
Wow.
So for 5 mana, you can create 1 copy of something. Then for 2, 4, 6, 8 mana, you can create 2 copies.
No, not something for each of X target permanents.
Oh, X.
So I'm assuming it's 3 target permanents, right? Because each
So
instance
for
of X,
each of X, so for each of 3 target permanents, the question that I have is, can you target the same
Create
permanent multiple
3
times?
create 3 of those, right?
It doesn't say for X of. It doesn't say for each of X different targets. So I think you could probably even target the same thing if you wanted to create like, if X was 2, for each of 2 target permanents, you just target the same thing twice. You create 2 tokens that are copies of that twice.
So you play this in a
Create
sliver
4
deck and
tokens.
target that sliver that gives all slivers +1/+1 for each target sliver that like
That
like
breathes
100.
this turn. Yeah, I mean, I can see this. It's a little expensive, but I think that for what it does, it could cost.
It's a game
some-
ender.
Yeah. This is the bombs that we're looking for. For 8 mana, you could do a lot.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, so if you're
5.
paying 2, 4, 6, 8, if X is 2, it's 8 mana.
Yeah.
But you're
you're
creating
also doing
4
this in
copies of
Simic.
something.
So realistically, you should be going ridiculous. You'd have infinite mana pretty much when you cast.
Yeah,
this.
you're in Simic, so
I'm
you're probably
confused
gonna
by
have
that.
a million mana. All right, so
but
Fugitive
Bob,
Codebreaker, 2/1
what was
haste.
it about Fugitive Codebreaker that jumped out at you?
It's the prowess and haste. I mean, they're all those prowess and hasty kind of cards, like, you know, what is it? Monastery. Oh, wait, I don't even know. Does Monastery Swift Spear? I think it has prowess.
Spear? Yeah,
Um,
it's got it's probably got prowess. It sounds right. I don't know.
So-
I don't play.
Additionally, you can use this as card draw, right? So it's and red's not huge for card draw.
So
So
cast this card face down for 3, so you can morph it, and then you can
Mhm.
turn it face up for its disguise cost, and cost 1 less for each instant or sorcery card in your graveyard. It's synergistic with prowess, so I like that. And then when you turn it face up, you can discard your hand, draw 3. Oh, see, if it was, I mean, you're paying a lot of mana. It should just be discard your hand, draw 7.
Yeah, that would be.
Like
I'm just
because it
saying,
has
I
haste.
feel like that's like there's enough fidgety there that thing I think is it kind of says modern to me all over it.
And DJ,
I think that if it was draw 7, it would see play. Otherwise, I don't. I'm not gonna play it
I think Fugitive Codebreaker.
because, like, if you think of cards
Pat,
like
you're very muted.
Wheel of Force or Wheel of Fortune and cards like that, that's basically what this card's trying to do, but with a bunch of hoops to jump through. I don't know.
I think it means you're probably already empty-handed. Like it boom, 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 boom. on turn
Ideally,
one,
yeah.
you're
Ideally, you
empty-handed.
empty your hand and then you do it, so you don't lose
Sure.
anything. But that's with all of the wheels.
But most of those red decks play a lot of instants and sorceries to begin with. So
yeah, if you're already in the prowess,
especially
then,
the prowess one with Monastery, I think it's going to slot in just fine. Like if you're playing Monastery Swift Spear, I don't know why you wouldn't play this as well.
sure. Red Herring, haste. It attacks each turn. Combat if able. Sacrifice to draw a card.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really do anything for me.
I think the
I don't-
red herring is.
I
actually
think it's going to be
Fugitive
good in
Codebreaker.
standard. Like people are going to draft 4 of this simply because it's haste.
A 2/2 haster for 2, yeah, isn't terrible. And drawing a card, the fact that it has to attack every turn makes it kind of bad because, like, you could play this, hit them for 2, and then they play a 2/3, and it just dies the next turn. So force.
I like how it's a clue fish.
Kind of
I want that new tribal of clue fishes.
clue fish. That's very interesting.
Clue is a new like mechanic that they're trying to compound into worth in this set. You know, because it's all, you know, sneaking around and murders and stuff like that. So clues are a big part of it.
Escape Tunnel's interesting for a common land. It's a little bit more flexible than your standard Terramorphic. You would just play this over Terramorphic every time because it just is the Terramorphic, but then extra. So that's
Right.
interesting.
Or in addition to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever run Terramorphic because I don't really run basic lands, but
I think it's more standard, like color fixing and
Yeah, that's what
standard
I'm
with
saying.
some
Like,
ability
if
to
you
like
need to sneak
win
2
at the end of the
damage
game.
in, this is pretty good.
Another ape going in my monkey deck, throwing more bananas.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay, we've got Drag the Canal here in Demir. So
Create
instant
a white and blue.
cast
Detective.
cast a Create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature with token. If the creature died this turn, you gain 2 life. Surveil 2, then investigate. Oh wow.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of all the new tokens that they've made here.
Why is it white blue when the card's blue black? What the? I don't understand.
That's a good point.
It's a detective.
Because that guy's blue and the other guy's dead.
I can't imagine what deck this slots into for like commander. So
Yeah.
I don't really play much standard or
Pride
constructed
of the
other than
Hulk played. He's 11 mana for a 2/15. Okay.
not really.
Crocodile, elk,
Access
turtle.
to caster, access the total toughness of creatures you control. Okay, so he could be pretty cheap. Defender,
very.
and it's on a turn. Target creature you control gets +1/+0, gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. Draw cards equal to its toughness.
Oh, that's
Until end of turn, target
hilarious.
creature you control
So you
+1/+0.
could get 15 cards off of
This
this.
creature deals combat damage to a player. Draw cards equal to its toughness and can attack as though it didn't have defender. Wow, that's interesting.
You can also do that on something else, though. Target
Yeah,
creature you control. So it doesn't
Yeah,
even have to be
any
this guy.
creature. It could even be your opponents
No,
or your friends.
No, it says target you control.
Oh, never mind. Oh, it's blue. Interesting. So he's a hybrid. He's
yeah,
Simic.
so this is actually Simic as well.
Interesting.
So basically, you want this in a commander like Arcades the Strategist deck.
Yeah,
big
there's
butt.
already a commander that does this, or that works well with this. He could be a commander himself, or he can just go into the toughness wall defender decks.
I
already.
don't think it's game breaking enough to like be a high value card. I think this is going to be like a $1 mythic.
Probably. Yeah. It's,
I agree.
if you ever activate the
it's
ability and
fun.
you get to draw those cards, like the value that you gain from that is pretty insane.
Yeah, but I think
4
there's
mana
easier
draw,
ways to do that in blue,
either
to be
10.
honest.
Oh, absolutely. You just
Really?
put out like Coastal Piracy, 2 and 2 blue. There's a card Nicoria that does exactly the same thing, where anytime a creature you control does damage to a player, you can draw a card. This is more powerful than that, but also not static. So there's definitely a trade, but this seems like it would be a fun
It's
deck.
narrow. It has no protection. It's just like if it
it
had
does
ward
No
of some kind,
protection. It's a 2/15. It's got more
Yeah,
than enough
well,
protection.
Ward
that
would
doesn't
be
mean
cool.
much.
Yeah.
Ward.
Yeah.
It feels like in order to make this a much more useful card, it needed something like ward, like
Also,
Okay.
the
ward
problem
3,
is that
ward discard a card. It needed ward, really, in my
it has
opinion.
to do combat damage to a player as well. So you'd have to get through. You have to. Oh, it's
And if you're sitting there with no creatures on board, this thing ain't coming out.
Bad. It would be different if you could attack. So if you can attack and then do this at instant speed, that would work. But the problem is that you actually have to.
Just make it unblockable.
You have to, if you have nothing that gives your defenders the ability to attack, you have to first give them the ability to attack with this ability. So then it's super telegraphed. So yeah, there are
That
things
is
that can
good.
do
Not only
that
that,
already.
you're not
I
giving
hate it when
all of
I
your
get through.
creatures unblockable for 4 mana. It's one target creature.
And you don't always have. You actually could just put this in the deck and just not have it. You don't have to play it in a defender deck. Even if you play with a 4/4 and you get through with 4 damage or any damage, paying 4 mana to draw 4 cards is still good.
Whisper Silk Cloak and just do your
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still have to have, anyways. But like I said, it's just too fidgety, too many narrow cases.
Actually, I don't even think you can do
that.
that. I think Whisper Silk Cloak gives hexproof, doesn't it? Or not hexproof, shroud.
No, it's unblockable.
No, I know, but it also gives a shroud, doesn't it not?
Oh, so you couldn't target it with itself?
Yeah, you can't even target it. If it gives a
So
shroud,
it would only be good for one turn. So you have to turn it into or you have to make it unblockable first. Or, I mean, you have to activate it so it can
spells or
attack.
abilities.
Then
Yeah.
you could throw
Yeah,
Whisper
shroud.
Silk Cloak on it. Then it could do it. It's like I said.
Yeah, it's very.
I
a
don't
lot
think
of
it's that
a
good.
lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah, I don't think I'm connecting the dots on that one. Hey, look at that. Connecting the dots. 1 in a red for an enchantment that says whenever a creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library face down. You cannot look at it. Interesting. 1 in a red, discard your hand, sacrifice this card, put all cards exiled with this into their owner's hands.
Yeah, maybe with that goblin earlier, but now you're starting to have to connect too many cards, and it's just
I don't like that. Yeah,
This
I'm
card's
not
not
connecting
bad
the dots
because it
on
says
that.
whenever a creature you control attacks. So if you attack with 5, you're exiling with 5.
Yeah.
So here's the situation that I see that could be very bad. You could play this, attack with 5 creatures, exile 5 cards, and then you don't have the mana. Say you don't have the mana to sacrifice it. Somebody blows your enchantment up; those cards are gone forever,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
you don't even know what's exiled because you can't look at them.
It's just a gamble. It's a dead
And you have to
end
discard
on
your
your
hand.
investigation. Yeah.
next.
Yeah, if you didn't have to discard your hand, it'd be fine. But
That
Ooh,
elf
I
is
love
all
What are
me a
your
Simic
thoughts
creature. Simic
on
Queen.
Vanifar evolved
Oh,
Enigma here?
she's a bait though. She's an ooze. She's gonna try to eat you alive.
Yeah, whatever.
It's still an elf
Like
though, too.
it's like
and a wizard.
Yennefer. Cloak a card from your hand. What the fuck?
Put it onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 with Ward 2.
Oh, with Ward 2.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, all of those face down ones out of this set actually have Ward 2 for the cloaking thing.
Interesting. Put a 1 on each colorless creature you control. Well, that thing's kind of dead, but the first ability is interesting. Oh no, because they're all going to be colorless.
They're all
Never mind.
colorless. Yeah.
Interesting.
But
it's
you
like
can only
it's like
turn
that
them
commander that you
face-
can foretell stuff for free. Once
Yeah.
per turn.
So you're gonna get 2/2s that you know at combat you get to do that. I don't like
I
it.
think the issue for this is that you can only turn face up cards that are creatures.
Well, yeah, you would only put.
So here's where I have a problem. Like, first
get to
off, so
choose.
if it's an elf, you know, how many blue elves do we have, or colorless elves? So not really
I don't
synergizing.
think it's going to be
there.
an elf deck. No, it's going to be a creature deck that just
Yeah.
turns stuff face up. There's morph cards that would love this. You get to morph something for free every turn.
Okay.
I think.
Or
it's
you make
fine.
it a weird artifact deck because it's got blue in it, putting a 1/1 counter on each colorless creature you control. You might see decks moving in it that way.
I
What's
don't
that?
see
What's
this
the
being a
mechanic
very
called where you can modular
Modular. Yeah.
a modular deck? That'd be very interesting. Commander for a modular deck. Every turn they just get a free 1/1 counter.
I'm just not seeing this one being worth it though. Like it'll
Nope.
get some play because of its uniqueness.
I think it's cool. I
especially
think
for a mythic.
I bet you there's broken shit with this card. I bet you this breaks the game.
No, there's lots of broken shit in the game, but I don't see it.
There's so many cards. Somebody's gonna figure it out. Intrude on
the mind. Yeah, Matt, why don't you go ahead and check this one out for us?
5 mana instant. I like it already that it's instant. 5 mana is a very expensive card, so it's got to be very good. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put the pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So it's a fact or fiction. And then you also create a 0/0 Thopter token creature with flying that has a 1/1 counter on it for each card put into your graveyard this way. This card's bad.
Yeah,
Isn't fact or fiction just cheaper and fact or fiction? Okay, there's apparently a series called Beyond Fiction, Fact or Fiction.
Oh, dude, that was great. Yeah, with
so yeah,
Riker.
Fact or Fiction is 4 mana, and you do that. So you're paying 1 extra mana to get a Thopter that's probably a 2/2 or a 3/3.
Yeah, this is
it's kind of boring.
Thumbs down.
Next.
Unyielding Gatekeeper Disguise. Oh, a Fairy Detective.
It's not great.
When this is turned face up, exile something else, return to the battlefield.
I mean, it's removal.
Yeah. So we've got Delny, Streetwise Lookout. For 2 and a white, you get a 2/2 legendary creature, Human Scout. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. Okay. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, double it.
It seems very niche, but I'm sure there's. I mean, I guess it doubles all the life gain you get from like Soul Warden and.
Yeah, it's a white weenie go wide deck, and I could see this going really good in my Trelasara Moondancer deck.
2 or less. There's art. Isn't there like I don't know. Yeah, I can see this. Like, what is it? Shram is another one that's like a low cost,
right, yeah,
like an artifact or like an equipment style deck. Giving your shit unblockable. Although if you're playing an equipment deck, it probably won't be. So it'd be more like white weenie, like you're saying. I don't know.
It's got to be like go wide white weenie.
Probably pretty good.
Because then you play it with, I don't know, is it Damping Sphere or what's the one that like creatures with power 2 or greater don't, or power greater than 2 don't untap?
Oh, I'm not quite
There's some
sure.
artifact out there that does
I
something
know
like
what
that.
you're talking about. A lot of just filler cards.
Assemble the
here.
players. Can you go back up one? The one in the middle. That one was interesting when I looked at it. I'm trying to wrap my head around exactly
Just
how
another
this
white
would.
Weenie card.
And it's an enchantment, and you can look at the top card of. You can look at it,
Uh-huh.
and then once each turn, you may cast a creature spell with power 2 or less from the top of your library. So it clearly synergizes with that other dude.
Kind of. It's very niche, but it's kind of cheap.
It seems fine.
It's fine.
I don't know.
Yeah, right. That's pretty much how I feel about it. Is it's fine.
Honestly, the set so far just feels kind of fine. Not like
Weird
oh my God.
detective. What a weird. Like I get that it's like it's not saying he's a weird detective. I'm saying.
Where's it?
No, it is. It literally
Little
says
one.
weird detective.
No, but it's
Oh.
the creature type weird. Not he isn't weird. He's a weird.
He's a weird.
He's a weird.
No, he's
Yeah.
weird.
And then the flavor text is that's weird. What does he do when he enters the battlefield? Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard an instant sorcery or a creature with flying.
Oh, that's shitty.
If it had flash, I'm in. But because it doesn't have flash, I'm out.
Has vigilance.
Yeah.
Oh,
Vein Ripper. Is that a vampire?
This isn't terrible. When this or another creature you control is turned face up, creature deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. That's not terrible. I'm surprised it's not a legendary to make people want to go
Oh,
after
damn.
that.
Hold on. Back up to the left there.
But
it's going to see some play.
Skeleton. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 black skeleton creature.
So immediate value when it hits the table, 2/1 for 2, not the greatest, but and then it gets suspected, which means it has menace.
And
right?
cannot block.
Yo, Ripping Ship, Lance.
Hey,
good to
what
see you,
up?
buddy. So I mean that
It's a demonic tutor.
that's
you have to
not
jump through
terrible.
hoops. It's
And
it's a
then
demonic
to
tutor.
solve
Not
it,
really.
it has to die.
Because you have to have
Well,
the
hold
skeleton
on.
die, and you have to wait until the end of combat, and then you
Wait,
also
no, you
have to
don't.
pay 2 mana.
First off, the skeleton does not have to die.
You have to have no skeletons.
No, that's to do that solve cost. But if unsolved at the beginning of your end step, it's solved.
No. You can only solve it if you control no suspected skeletons. That's the only way you can solve it.
What?
So you have to get to
Well, then
solve
what does
it.
that text mean? If unsolved, solve
So
it
it's
at
saying
the
that
beginning of
if
your
you
end
haven't
step.
already solved it, do the solving thing. Can you solve it? If you haven't solved it, solve it. If you've already solved it, it's solved. It's like an and if statement.
Yeah.
So you have to play this card, get the 2/1 on the battlefield. It's suspected. Then you have to get rid of that card, which black can do easily enough. But then you have to wait until the end step, and then you have to pay 2 extra mana as well. So it's a diabolic edict. I don't know. It's a good budget card for a tutor. I don't know. It's
I don't
very,
know, man. I'd have to see what that solved me because that doesn't make any sense. If unsolved at the beginning of end step, solve it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
When
have to, in order to solve, you have to control no
suspected skeletons.
It's a looping
Okay,
statement.
but if unsolved, solve it.
Only
Yeah.
if
In
you
order
have
to
no
solve-
suspected skeletons. You have to meet that criteria to solve it at the end of your end step, at the beginning of your end step, if it's not already solved. So it's flipping a gate as long as you meet the criteria.
Still not terrible. Any kind of tutor, especially in standard. Oh, like what other tutors are there really in standard for any card?
Ooh. Check out Vein Ripper though. 3
Too
and 3
expensive.
black for a 6/5 flying. Ward, sacrifice a creature. Pretty solid. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life.
Feels very much like a win more kind of card, especially
Yeah.
in standard. Like if you're already up to that point where you're at 7 mana that you can cast, it's wait a turn for it to do a thing.
I'm thinking
Kinda like-
Kalia the Vast is going to love this. Yeah, busted and limited. Yeah. Okay, what else we got down here? No witnesses, 2 and 2 white. Each player controls the most creature investigates. Destroy all creatures. Okay, pretty cheap. That's definitely on cost.
The green one is meh.
Sharp-eyed rookie. Vigilance when when any creature enters the battlefield under your control, if its power is greater than this.
Oh, it only triggers once each turn. Oh man, why'd they have to put that on the next card? Like I thought it was busted for a second until it said this ability triggers only once each turn. That makes so many cards so bad.
Felonious Rage.
Dog Walker.
That's got to be in the dogs and cats deck.
Oh Jesus!
He's not a dog, but he creates dogs, I guess. Oh, here we go.
What do we got? Oh, there's Jaws. Okay, more dogs. Because didn't they say that all wolves are now dogs? Yeah, but I think all wolves are now considered dogs.
I think all hounds are dogs. I don't think all wolves are dogs. So it's a 5/5 vigilance, trample, ward 3, and whenever it attacks, you put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, where X is the number of elves you control. Draw a card for each wolf you control. Well, that's weird.
Maskwood Nexus, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's either an elf wolf deck or it's a deck that you try to do a bunch of weird shit. All right, Tomic Wielder of Law. 2/4 affinity for planeswalkers. That's strange. I like it.
Fuck that noise.
Get out of here. Well, here's the thing: it's affinity for planeswalkers, which means it's good for being your commander for a planeswalker. But then you're stuck in white black.
Okay. Hold on a second. Affinity for planeswalker. It costs 1 colorless.
No, I know, but it will reduce the commander tax. Is what I'm thinking.
Well, I'm just like, okay, so they're.
But normally it's garbage because it's going to reduce it by 1. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. It has to be your commander to get the full value.
So
whenever an opponent attacks with a creature, if 2 of those creatures are attacking you and or a planeswalker you control, that opponent loses 3 life and you draw a card. No.
So it's a pillow fort. Don't attack me.
At least it has flying and Vig, and it's a 2/4 for potentially 2. So it's not bad. 2/4 for 2. But then it does the weird thing where you draw.
But here's the thing, like the affinity, like you guys. So it's got affinity. It can only ever reduce the cost by like 1. I mean, unless it's your commander.
That's what I said. It has to be your commander to make sense.
I just see that as being bullshit.
But then you're so limited. Like playing a planeswalker deck in white black just feels really underpowered, underwhelming.
Whoa.
All right, what about Milok Reforged Researcher? His power total equals the number of.
It's another weird detective. I like it already.
First instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 3 less. That's pretty powerful.
That's really good.
Yeah.
The problem that I see is that like you could be in a really weird situation where you just don't have any instants or sorceries in your game. Oh, twice the number of instants and sorcery. Oh, it's even
okay, but if there are none, it's still 0.
That's what I'm saying. It just dies. So if like somebody exiles your graveyard, you also lose your commander or your creature. But I still think it's powerful.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
right. I could see this in like a Niv Mizzet deck or something like that. I could see this being better as not your commander. But even
see it being the commander. There are plenty of red-blue decks that want to do this effect, that want to have. Basically, this incentivizes you to cast instants on other people's turns.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So like you can get a ton of value from it, but it has to survive.
Like especially you take an extra turn after this turn.
Yeah, I mean you could just keep looping extra turns because they're very cheap. They would cost like anywhere between 1 and like 5, I guess, depending on which one you're casting. Yeah, it's interesting. I can see this deck being very annoying to play against.
Agreed.
And it's a weird.
They're gonna take like. It's weird. It sure is.
They're gonna be slinging so many spells.
I like it. I'd try to play.
I like it. This spell can't be countered. I like that. Destroy target creature planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. That's not terrible.
Yeah.
The instant speed, colorless mana, black. Yeah, I can actually see this being very interesting. No more lies. Counter target spell unless they pay 3. If the spell is countered, exile it. So it's a bad mana leak.
Yeah.
Because it's a white and blue.
Assassin's Trophy, huh?
Oh, Assassin's Trophy is getting reprinted.
Reprint.
That's pretty good.
That's going to a 50-cent card.
What is it?
Let's see. Analyze the
Action
pollen.
code.
As an additional cost,
$8.
evidence,
Yeah, it's
collect
not
evidence
gonna.
8. Okay, so search your library for a basic land card. If evidence was collected in search for a creature or land, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle.
Oh, that's not terrible. That's basically like Worldly Tutor.
Yeah, it's a sorcery, and it has a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah, but it also puts it into your hand. I mean, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
I
think it's gonna be
don't
good in
hate it.
Commander.
I think it'll be budget.
I don't know.
I
I
think
think to go get your Craterhoof Behemoth, I think it's all right. Especially right after somebody board wiped.
I guess it's fine because you don't have to collect evidence. It does something, even if it is just getting a basic.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's very weird.
Okay, what else we got here? Some more.
Yeah, so you could play it on turn 1 or you could play it on turn 10, and it has value in both. Oh, hold on, a Golgari Elf. I like it.
Cost 6 though. I'm already out. I don't even care what he does.
Menace, when this enters the battlefield or attacks, you can collect evidence 4. If you do, create 2/1 black green spider.
Yeah, not
creature
enough to
token,
make me go.
Sack 4 tokens, surveil 2, draw 2, gain 2.
That effect is strong. The last effect is strong because it's any 4 tokens. If it was just the black spider tokens you had to sacrifice, it'd be dog shit. But because if you ever make infinite tokens of anything, then you all of a sudden can now draw your entire deck, mill your entire graveyard, and gain technically infinite life. Oh no, it's draw. So no, you couldn't draw. You would gain your deck. You would basically just draw your deck. But you'd have to have a way to make infinite.
Sure, you
tokens,
play it with Shieldred.
It's
horrible. Not terrible.
Yeah, it's not amazing, but its effect is decent. It's cost so much mana though, 6 mana though. Ugh.
Yeah.
If it were 4, this card would be very playable, and you could just make it less power toughness. Make it like a 2/3 menace with death touch for 4 mana, and then have the same effects. Whatever. Anyways.
Oh wow. So that's a pretty good the War Leader's Call.
Krenko's back. Is he a new one? Baron.
That's a new one.
Is that a reprint or a new one?
No, it's a new one.
Baron of Tinstreet.
I think.
Sacrifice an artifact. Put a 1 counter on each goblin you control. And whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard, you can pay a red. If you do, you get a 1/1 goblin. I can see that. Well, yeah. Well, I can see that having
and
a loop.
It's got haste. So I mean, I think that's of everything up there. I think that's the best card on the screen at the moment.
I would agree.
The War Leader's Call isn't bad either.
So I think that, to me, I think Krenko's probably the best of the 3, but niche case, Kaikar Wind's Fury really loves War Leader's Call. This is just perfect for that deck.
Dude, you get any white card that puts a crap ton of freaking tokens on the board. Boo!
And then we
Shotgun.
scroll down here. We've got
Tristani's good.
Case of the Ransacked Lab. It's in sorceries, cost 1 less to solve, 1 less to cast. To solve it, cast 4 more instant or sorceries this turn. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card if it's solved. That's
pretty
fine.
good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I don't know, to cast 4 individual spells on a single turn. Eesh.
In the right deck, that's very easy. In the red-blue decks that do this already, this might be a play because it reduces their cost, so that's already pretty good. I think a lot of red-blue decks will play this. It's cheap enough.
Whoa. Okay. So
are you talking about Tristani?
Kylock's Visionary Inventor.
I think Tristani's a 5-cent garbage.
So Kylock Visionary Inventor for 5, a blue and a red. You get a 4/4 Viashino Artificer, Menace, Ward 2, and Haste. When it attacks, sacrifice any number of other creatures. Exile the top X cards of your library, where X is their total power. You can cast any number of instant or sorcery spells from among them without paying for their mana cost. That's kind of wild, but It's also got haste. So I think you could actually get this trigger to work. That's
If it
kind of
had this spell cannot be countered, I would be in. But like it's 7 mana.
yeah, they know when that's gonna come in.
So like
Yeah,
you have to
it's
have
not gonna
7
be a
mana
commander.
and counter spell backup and have creatures to sacrifice to it and have it. I don't know. There's just a lot of ands. Now I'll give you this. You'll have the ability to like spell this deck is gonna play those cards that have like your power and toughness are equal to the number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard. So they're gonna have like high power, but it's so much. It's you're living in fantasy world if you think you're gonna do anything crazy with this card. It might happen every now and then, but like I could definitely see this being like you cast it, it either dies or they counter it, and you've done nothing and your whole turn's wasted. And then you have to pay 9 mana the next turn.
And I think Bob might be right that Trostani, Three Whispers, this 4/4 Dryad, it seems pretty decent actually for green, a white, and one of those mixy green white things. Comes in and you've got the abilities on it here of 1 in a green, target creature gains death touch until end of turn. One of those green white things again, target creature gains vigilance until end of turn, or 2 in a white, target creature gains double strike until end of turn.
So
there's a lot of versatility,
What makes it much better is the fact that it doesn't say target creature you control.
Yeah, I guess
everybody on the board has got to be aware that you can double strike it, give it death touch, whatever anybody else attacks with.
Really good for commander raids as like a group hug commander.
I think even in regular commander, this is going to make shit.
Just screwing around with people.
Do I block?
Yeah.
Do I not block? Crap. This changes the whole table state.
It definitely is another one of those politicky weird commanders where
I like it.
You could mess with the combat very, very interestingly.
Easily. Hell yeah. And it happens immediately as long as it's on the board.
You've made me think it's no longer a garbage card. Now I think it's interesting. It's
now
at very least
interesting. Yeah.
Because in my brain, I automatically just look at those kind of cards that do those things, and I'm like, that's just boring. I don't care. It's like trying to be. It's like a worse. What's that guy? What's that? The king. What was it? Oh, fuck. I had the guy's name in my head, but then now it's gone. It's the white card that has all the 5 different colors.
Kenrith, King Return.
Kenrith, yeah. It's like in my head, it was like trying to be a bad Kenrith, but that's a totally different kind of card. This is definitely a more political. You're definitely messing with the battlefield. You're not even really caring. You probably won't even do it for your own creatures.
No, I could see this being like in a pillow 40. You're just setting things up, waiting for things to evolve because it's not particularly threatening and menacing itself.
It's also a 4/4, so it's decent power toughness for its cost.
Sure, and you can give it double strike, right? So even things attacking you, right? It is a decent blocker. So at any rate,
I think kind of
3 mana. What more do you want from a card?
Like Ward 1 maybe, or Ward. I don't know. Ward.
Even if they kill it, it's not that terrible to get it back out on the battlefield. It's still cheaper even the second time you cast it than Kylox. I think it's going to be useful, and like there's going to be a lot of threats on the board. Is this really the one you want to target? Right. I think it's a great card. I think it's going to be a very good card. I think it's going to do some things in Commander. As far as like standard, it's a 3 mana cost 4/4.
And it definitely fits into the go wide aspect, and you'll have so much mana running in a green deck as well that you can definitely pump up a lot of your squad. So you'll have 3 or 4, 1/1 death touchers coming over. Yeah, I could see it being pretty decent. Oh, we've got Tolismir, Midnight's Light, 2 a green and 2 whites for an Elf Scout. Comes in as 3/2 with lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, create Voja Fenstalker, a legendary 5/5 green and white wolf creature token with trample. Whenever a wolf you control attacks, if this card attack this combat, target creature an opponent controls blocks that wolf this combat if able. Jesus Christ.
Man.
It's just Pulse. Ooh, Massacre Girl got an upgrade. I think, or is that just the same Massacre Girl?
No, it's a different.
I'll say that. This might be the first Massacre Girl reprint, or not a reprint, but a new version of her. Creatures you control have Wither. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, draw a card. Ooh, that's a really strong effect, actually. All of those kind of cards that give like Massacre Worm and Massacre. What is that? What is that?
Dude, you play this and then drop Toxic Deluge. You board wipe.
Meat Hook Massacre, Toxic Deluge, all of those effects.
Toxrill.
Those all. Although the problem is you're doing it. She's also gonna die, but I mean, I guess.
Toxrill kind of makes it. Yeah, this definitely goes in a Toxrill.
Toxrill's great with it. I mean, you could Toxic Deluge for 3 and kill a bunch of things and draw a bunch of cards. Yeah, this card. I mean, you could do Dismember -5/-5. Any of the effects that give minus effects that will make you draw a card. Turns out kill spells.
I think it's good. I think it's a fine card. I don't think it's something you build your deck around, but it goes in a lot of decks.
The scary part is it's a legendary, so people might even be making decks with this as their, commander.
I think it's pretty kind of narrow.
Yeah, I don't want to see this either. I don't like the -1/1 counters, and they got the payoff for it. So we've got Axebane Ferox, 2/2 green, Death Touch haste, ward, collect evidence 4. No, you can just skip that card. Judith, Carnage Carnosaur, 3 black and a red for a 3/4 human shaman. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, choose 1. Target spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink. That's interesting. Create a 2/2 red imp creature token with when this creature dies, deal 2 damage to each opponent. I like that it's not limited. That would be the, if only happens once per turn. Text was on this. I think that would really kill it. But
how many are you going to be casting though in red black?
Yeah, that's the thing, is the colors on this, it's thematic, but I don't think that works for it.
Yeah, I'm ready to go next. Plus, I'm super hungry. I want to get through.
Yeah, I'm starving.
We've got a Spirit Detective. When ETBs are attacked, choose 1 target creature if it's expected. Otherwise, expected. No, fuck that. Let's see.
Is this the full set?
Looks like it might be at this point.
How about we just kind of stick to the mythics?
Yeah. Deadly Fugitive. Face down creatures, you have 2 in Dimir. Turn creature face up. If you can't exile it, when you exile it, then you may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. Oh, interesting. So this actually kind of has like the whole synergy payoff. So this will probably be the deck that is like on the forefront of this whole set. Aurelier's
What the fuck does that mean?
What?
I'm confused. You pay 4 mana, turn this creature face up. If you can't, exile it. What do you mean if you can't? If it's not a creature?
Correct.
So you have to find a way to put things face down. No, but it's only face down creature. Oh, I guess it is a creature if it's a morphed card.
Yeah.
I'll say, but it has to be. So you have to find a way to put things down as morph cards that aren't creatures, to then turn it face up. To then I don't know. That seems there's probably ways to break that, but I don't. It ain't my style. Aurelia's Vindicator.
Ooh,
4 mana for a 4/2 flying lifelink ward 2 disguise X 3 white. Whenever it's turned face up, exile X other target creatures from the battlefield and or graveyard cards or creature cards from the graveyard. Whenever it leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their hand. Nope.
Boo.
I'm out. I've moved on with my life. Kaya Spirit's Justice. Is this a reprint or is this the same?
No, it's a new one.
Whenever 1 or more creatures you control and or creature cards in your graveyard are put in exile, you may choose a creature card from among them. Until end of turn, target token you control becomes a copy of it, except it has flying. +2 surveil, then discard.
Like if it was
Exile.
any creature, that would be baller. But the fact that it's your creatures,
Yeah, it is very interesting. I don't know. There's probably ways to build around this, but I mean, it creates its own tokens, which is nice, and it's a plus ability, which is nice, and you can minus your own creature, I guess. Well, hold on. -2, exile target creature control for each other player. Exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. So that's actually baller as hell. That's 3 removal spells, and she doesn't die, and it's repeatable, and she protects herself. I actually think she's kind of good. In Commander,
Okay.
that's -2 for 4 mana. Exile 3 target creatures. Well, 4 target creatures, and you get a benefit later on. Yeah, I turned that -2 is pretty huge. The fact that it's exiled, they never get it back. That's pretty baller. I'm in.
I'm not in for Kellen, Inquisitive Prodigy. This guy's just not worth it. You can investigate when you do his story over here. You can play an additional land that turn, kind of whatever. Flying Vigilance.
It's Growth Spiral.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just not great.
Right. And then we've got Teysa, Opulent Oligarch. For 1, a white and a black, a 2/3 human advisor with Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, investigate for each opponent who lost a life this turn. Oh, whenever a clue you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. This ability triggers only once each turn. Fuck you.
I love that text. I love that, and can only be activated as a sorcery. Makes me very happy.
Yeah, she's garbage.
I'm joking.
Then we've got a whole bunch of commons and uncommons here. A mythic.
Rakdos.
We've got Rakdos, Patron of Chaos.
He better be good because the other Rakdos is baller. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. That's pretty fucking boring.
Non-land, non-token.
Ooh, Lightning Helix is reprinted into standard. Ooh. It's a good card.
You think the Rakdos is boring?
Yeah, I don't like it at all. Like 6 mana for a 6/6 flying trample is just kind of okay at this point in time of Magic.
Then you get to draw 2 cards a turn.
If it was each opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land permanent, like here's the thing. You'll most likely draw cards, but at the same time, you might have opponents that want to sacrifice things. And not only do they get a free sacrifice outlet from you, they also prevent you from drawing the cards as well.
No,
there could be
because you don't target that opponent. If it benefits them, you don't target them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's too expensive. If it was 4 mana for a 6/6 trampler, like the other one's 4 mana for a 6/6 trampler, flying trample, and he has a better.
I have no problem with this one being in it. I wouldn't make it a commander, but I would say I have no problem with it being in a demon deck.
Yeah, I could see this going to like Collier or something.
Love you too, Sherry Vegas.
Then we've got Aurelia, the Law Above, 3, a red and a white for a 4/4 angel that has flying, vigilance, and haste. Not too bad. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Okay, whenever a player, not bad.
That's not
whenever
bad.
a player attacks with 5 or more, this creature deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3 life.
Yeah, she's not bad. That's a decent amount of draw in Boros. It's interesting. Ooh, shock. Okay.
Along with Alquist, Proft, Master Sleuth, 1 a blue and a white, 3/3 human detective with vigilance. When it ETBs, investigates a whole bunch of mana, sacrifices
Sphinx's Revelation on a stick.
And sacrifice a clue. If it weren't for the clue part, you know.
I mean, he already creates the clue, so like Sphinx's Revelation on a stick isn't terrible, but it's kind of boring. And then really some really shitty lands that I'll never play.
All these surveil lands. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's not entirely true. They're different than the normal shitty lands that come into the battlefield tapped. They at least you can fetch for them, and you get the ability. Maybe they're playable.
Looks like an album cover.
Yeah,
looks like I don't like these lands.
Looks like good AI art.
It does look like AI,
and
they all look the same, just different colors.
Yeah,
All right. Well, so what do you guys think overall of the set? I'm somewhat unimpressed.
Yeah, I could definitely.
I'm never.
I think there's some singles. There's definitely some good cards in it. I think, like I had mentioned, there's a shift for me, whereas I'm looking at singles to add in or spice up decks. But I really do like that Mole God. I would like to build a whole deck around that, and it being so cheap, I don't really care about how much it's going to get targeted, and it should, because I'm going to do some shenanigans with that bad boy.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't know if you're into the whole like murder mystery thing. Maybe it's more exciting to you. I've never really cared too much about that theme, but it's a little bit of a there's some cool. The suspect cards thing is interesting. It's kind of
I
like
didn't
the
see,
One
like,
Ring.
the special guest cards, though. I think that's the most exciting part about the set. But then that gets into the reprints. I'll say this that I'm happy with. It doesn't look like the main set contains very many reprints. Very happy with that.
Yeah, just some select ones that are pretty interesting.
Like Assassin's Trophy is kind of like the most notable, but it's it was already reprinted in double flippy masters. And
and this will be the first set that's the new play boosters, right?
Correct.
So we get to experience that.
Yeah. Actually, probably Twiddler's gone, but I think that's going to have a bigger impact than a lot of people think. That extra $50 a box, I think, is really going to set that threshold where people are like,
I was actually just going to look up on.
I can get a dual land.
So they're $145 right now for the play boosters for the Murders of Karlov. And you've got the bundle at $49 with 9 play boosters.
And did you see $145 worth of value in there? I think most of those mythics are going to be $1 or less.
I can't remember any mythics that are insane. That would have be. I don't know if that's all the cards that are spoiled. So 145
My favorite, probably the Tuscany one.
I mean, you're only looking at $4 a pack. That's not bad. I don't understand. I think that's fine. 36 packs for 145 is $4.
Yeah,
that's
draft
very
boosters
reasonable.
previously were 36 packs at $100. You can get them for $89.
Yeah.
Now you're talking the minimum entry is $150. I think that's a bigger thing.
$49 divided by 9. We're looking at so the bundles are really bad value. $50 for a bundle, and you're only getting you're paying $5.50 a pack. The collector's boxes, they look to be $228, so that's pretty standard. You're still getting 12 packs, so that's good. They didn't Jew you on the packs. Maybe that's a bad terminology to use. They didn't.
That's a terrible slur.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. My bad. I don't know what this Clue edition is. There's a 3 to 4 Clue edition.
That's
murder
a
mystery
one.
card game.
Some extra product that
includes 8 ready to play boosters.
Do you have the special guest cards there, Pat? I think they're the box toppers.
No, it wasn't on there.
Let me see if I can pull that up.
There's also the special treatment, the showcase, or what are they called? The dossier versions of cards as well, which I took a look at. They looked, I don't know, not my style. Not terrible, but not my style.
They look kind of like Clue cards. The dossier versions. I agree with you. But they haven't wowed me with a lot of the special versions. Where are the special guest cards, dadgummit?
Looking at the commander decks, we've got Deadly Disguise, Deep Clue Sea, Revenant Recon, and
Deep Clue Sea.
The Blame Game. Yeah, the Deep Clue Sea looks interesting. It looks like it's a white, blue, green deck. Clue tokens and card advantage. It's got that chick. I don't remember what card it was, but I think I liked it. I don't remember her name, but you get a collector sample booster. Whoa.
Okay, I think okay, so here they are. And they got Crashing Footfalls, Gamble, Tireless Tracker, Drown in the Lock, Field of the Dead, Victimize, Tragic Slip, Show and Tell. That's kind of a bigger one. Ghostly Prison, and Fabricate. So Gamble, Crashing Footballs, and Show and Tell are probably the biggest ones there.
Mhm.
Field of the Dead also had a few bucks, but Gamble I think is going to end up being like a $2 card. Show and tell, I don't know how much that's going to be. Like that there's a show and tell deck. I think it was just starting to creep back up again, and then there's a reprint, of course. I think it was like a $15 card, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, Crashing Footfall decks, you're getting a borderless version.
Insane.
Well, hey guys, I think it's well past dinner time for a lot of folks, and this has been a good long stream. Really enjoyed the chat. So let's go ahead. Thank you everybody for all the huge donations, the channel memberships and subscriptions. So y'all I really cannot express my gratitude.
Mind-blowing. Wow.
Thank you so much for everything.
Very
tonight.
nice.
Until next week, y'all have been wonderful, and we've been Cardboard Odysseys. Take care, everyone.
Bye.